Hey, what's happening?
What's going on?
Oh my God, this is a funny view. What happened to George? He
Where
cut
am I?
off.
Oh,
I'm gonna adjust you.
Hello, everybody.
see, you did it on purpose, didn't you?
Oh yeah.
There we go.
Hey guys, welcome back to Mac on a Platter. So tonight, we were gonna do our alien types thing, but something more important came up. We'll do that later. We'll do that next time. We have Christian Britton here from a band called 30 Years Gone, and this guy, we just met him. How did you meet this guy, anyways?
I've known him for many years.
Bullshit.
No, I met him through a friend, mutual friend.
Right on. So he sent us his stuff. He said he wanted to come on and chat with us. You know, he says, yeah, okay, I guess I'm kind of down with you guys and your crazy mic on a platter stuff. So, you know, we'll give it a whirl. Plus, I went and checked out his music, and this guy, he's got some great music that he puts together with his band. And you're the front man for the band, right?
I am the singer. I play guitar. We have another guitar player and a bass player and a drummer. But I do most of the singing.
Okay.
We all sing, though.
Nice.
A lot of backing vocals.
You know, your music struck me. It seems like you guys blend a few different genres there.
Absolutely. First of all, I just want to say thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course,
It's a
man.
cool experience. And thanks for Joaquin for, setting this up or making this happen. Just want to give a shout out to Joaquin. But first of all, I love your podcast, the way it looks. And
Thanks, man.
So as far as the genres are concerned, I've always been kind of a metalhead. We started off
Yeah, baby!
kind of metal.
Let's go middle. Hey, just for that right there, I'm going to say we're going to have to say cheers. So everybody get your drink if you're going to drink.
There we go.
And we're going to go in 3,
Yes.
2, 1.
Cheers.
Oh, damn. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. If you guys ever drink without saying cheers and toasting my glass and looking me in the eye, I will never have you in the show ever again, including you, my co-host.
Whatever.
Just kidding.
This is a cool
No,
setup.
you know, it's funny. My mom, she's from Switzerland, so I'm half Swiss. And over there, it's like when you say cheers, you go like this. So hold your glass up,
Skull.
and they go,
Skull.
Prost,
Oh.
or whatever they say.
Prost.
They say Prost, but you look each other in the
In
eyes
the
and
eye.
say, hey, dude, we're like doing this. This
I'm
is you and
Norwegian.
me.
My mom does that. She
Oh.
gazes into
Yeah,
my soul.
she like
Skull.
makes it a thing. It's like, hey, dude, this is a thing. We're having a drink together. We're gonna get a little buzz on together, a little mind alteration, whatever it is. You know, you're acknowledging the other human being and saying, hey, we're celebrating this moment. Okay, now do you feel bad?
Love it.
No, I mean, I look at you in your eyes.
In Japan, we say "kombai."
Jorge, I
Kombai.
look at you in your eyes too.
Look at your buddy Gabriel Will.
Uh-huh.
Said my brother Christian,
But
Gabriel
oh,
Will.
Gabriel Will's here from Mexico City.
Oh,
Oh,
bruh.
shit.
Love the
Nice,
man.
dude.
He's an incredible human being. I could do an entire podcast on him alone.
Okay, now that I've done my usual interruptions, finish with your genres that define your music.
Okay. Well. Oh, jeez. It's a long story. Okay. So basically, I've always been kind of a metalhead. The band kind of came about because, we've always played kind of alternative metal or metal-y kind of stuff. And a few years ago, my guitar player, Kenny, funny dude, and he doesn't intend to be funny, but he's pretty damn funny.
Funny's good.
He looks at me and he goes, well, we're too old to do metal, but we can always play country.
Right.
I mean, no offense to country. I mean, he didn't mean it in a bad way. He just meant, like, we may be too old to be taken seriously, in a metal audience, at our age, but not too old, to, like, make good country style music. So,
Sure.
I mean, I'm not calling our music straight country.
I wouldn't call it that either, and that's why I made that comment about
Right.
it sounding like a fusion.
It's like a country crossover.
Totally. Yeah.
Americana.
Yeah. And you've got. Now this is what I really noticed when I was listening to your music is your chord progressions, and your chords are very rich. You got some dissonance. You've got some augmented chords, and the progressions are not standard mainstream, 1-4-5 whatever.
Thank you. Thank you.
Progressions, and I was like listening to it. I was like, God, he's got like that deep folk sound, and
Folk.
yet it's got this rock structure to
Right.
it, but it's got the country, just little hits here and there. And by the way, your music was well produced. I gotta
Thanks,
say.
brother. Oh, okay. All right. Can I shout out somebody real quick?
Go.
All right, Adam Teller. I hope you're listening. He runs Avalon Audio Recording in Santa Ana. The guy's a friggin' genius, dude. He's like Einstein. I mean, on Pro Tools, unbelievable. He's a great producer, super talented musician. I think he was nominated for a Grammy at one point for producing "Asking Alexandria" or something like that.
Shit.
So anyway, he's a good dude, and anyway,
Nice.
I owe a lot to him. He's great. I owe everything to my bandmates. They're incredible. I mean, my bass player, my drummer, we started a band together called Crucial Steel when we were 12 years old.
Crucial Steel.
I was in the Motley Crue. Gavin, total Journey head, and the drummer, of course, Rush. I mean, he was.
Oh yeah, who's not
diehard.
a Rush fan when you're into progressive rock?
Right. So our first song was called 13 Steps to Doom.
Nice.
We played some auditorium assemblies in junior high school at Bancroft Junior High School. I got kicked out of Bancroft for drinking way
Nice.
back in the day. Gavin got to bring my annual and get it signed later. But anyway, so I'm playing with them, and then Kenny, he joined me, in the band. We headlined a bunch of clubs in LA and Orange County in the early 90s in a band called Terra Mater. And
Nice.
that was alternative metal. And then, which warped into a Dead Box, which was a little harder metal. We were going to have like a full, like, bondage kind of setup on stage. I mean, we were getting a fetish model. We hired a fetish model, and we were building this little rack. And
Dude, this sounds rad already.
It was going to be dope. Basically, I was going to flog her on the rack, and then she's going to sit on my lap, or like lay over my lap, and I was going to flog her on stage while I was singing the song.
Dude.
It was pretty sweet.
Nice.
It never came to fruition. I don't know what happened. I mean, I wrote a couple of books. Like, after that, I kind of like fell out of that. And anyway, that's what I took a big break off of music, and then basically it all started when Kenny said that comment about the country thing, and I was like, shit, let me give Gavin a call. I haven't talked to him in years and years, and I called Gavin, and Gavin's like, I'm in. Next thing you know, Eric's in, and here we are, man. I mean, it's been a couple of years. It's been tough. We were supposed to play a big show at Refuge Brewery in Temecula last, probably July.
Mm-hmm.
But, COVID, like, shut that down. Dude, we were going to film a performance video. We have a music video on YouTube. I don't know if you saw it, the Along the Way video.
Yeah, I saw it.
That was filmed out in the desert.
Out in Johnson's Valley.
Johnson Valley.
Mm-hmm.
The guy that filmed it,
Love it out there.
his name is Sat, and he's on Instagram, Sat the producer. He's a big producer. I mean, he does like big people. There's some names of these hip hop artists and shit that he does. I don't even know who the fuck they are, I gotta be honest. I mean, they look cool, but it's not my genre. He did some lady, Halsey, or whatever her name is, recently, I guess. I don't know, that's like some big artist lady. But anyway, he did our video, and he was going to do a production video, and that fell through for our first show. So we haven't really actually played out live yet. So that's going to be the next thing.
Yeah, and that's a nice thing about what we're doing here. We're not giving you music per se,
Right.
unless, of course, the publishing rights are owned by the artist, which
They are.
Britton says he owns it, so we can
Absolutely.
play some stuff for you. But if you guys want to come in, if you're a musician, you want to talk about what you're up to, when you're going to come out again. I know you have your blog and you're this and you're that, but, the FaceTime, well, come on in. We'll let you do some FaceTime with your peeps.
Oh, shit. We
In
would
here.
love that. Dude, we have the perfect song for it.
Nice.
Well, maybe we'll come to you if you want to, like, set up and play.
It would be unbelievable. We would totally do it.
Okay, cool. No, and again, I love your music. I checked it all
Thanks,
out,
bro.
and it's like, I would listen to this because this, I mean, I'm older too. He listens to younger stuff, but he also listens to older stuff, George's.
Right.
But I listen to it, and I'm like, shit, this has a little bit of an older appeal to it in a way because it
Yeah.
has like the complexity of the notes, and plus you're speaking about stuff that I think is like
Dude,
reflecting
the
on life
words.
and going back over the decades and thinking
Right.
about things. So, dude, nice music,
thanks,
by the way.
brother.
I
appreciate
really
it.
enjoyed
That
listening
means
to
so
all of it.
much. I really appreciate
Yeah,
it.
I would listen to it on my way to work, and I'm like, damn, dude, these guys got some great songs.
Dude, listen. I mean, the lyrics are where it's at for me. I mean, for me and us. I mean, I write a lot of the lyrics, and like a lot of the songs are about my grandpa, my mom, and like we have a song called Chelsea.
Chelsea, yeah.
who's a friend of ours, and she's actually in the Along the Way video. Chelsea, the song, the girl Chelsea is in the Along the Way video. She plays my mom.
Nice,
The Along the Way video is a story about my childhood, and I'm the little kid.
nice.
And Chelsea is in the video. She plays my mom. Anyway, and then my brother has had drug problems, and there's a verse about that. That's in the video too. But
Drug problems, always a good time, right?
yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, he still has drug problems.
So the music's okay. So we got this 3 or 4 genre kind of cross pollinated. You guys should check it out. 30 Years Gone. They're on
Thanks so
YouTube.
much.
Music's awesome.
We're on everywhere. We're everywhere. Spotify, everywhere you want to go. Check it out.
Yeah.
Nice.
But
Hey,
yeah.
I do want to say you could still hear that buzz or that fan
Really?
in the audio. It's not as bad as the episode we did with Adam. But Adam's saying the vocal balance is okay. This is the OA broadcast.
You know what? It's the fan on my laptop.
Oh.
That's what it is. This whole time, it's been the fan. It's
Well
a little bit less now.
Oh, nice. Cool.
So
Sorry about that.
Right on. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
that's much better.
have a sip of whiskey because
okay, so I'm just gonna get the fan away from the mics so you can hear what the hell's going on here and not ruin our podcast here. Hold on a second. Bear with me, people. Okay, that's a little better. So anyhow, what do you want to tell us tonight? You got some stories?
we can talk about anything, but
It looks like you got a little sheet there. You wrote some stuff down, a little cheat sheet.
I wrote some notes.
Okay. You know what we
What
talk
do-
about
what
on
do
this
you wanna
podcast,
start
right?
with? What do you want to start with?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I mean, are we moving right on to the paranormal subject?
You know, and let me just say that, you know, we love to talk about all kinds of wacky stuff on this podcast. So why not, man? Let's open your little Pandora's box and see what flies out.
You had mentioned to me that your aunt was a palm reader.
Yes,
Dude, how gnarly is that?
I didn't find that out until later in life.
For how many years was she doing that?
Okay, I'm not 100% sure. Her name was Adelaide, and this was in the Depression. So this was in the 30s. I mean, I don't know, what, like 33 is the Depression or something like that.
Yeah.
So I know she was born in like 1910, so she'd have been 23. Okay, so my great aunt Adelaide was a palm reader in the Depression. That's my grandfather's sister. My grandfather was a big palm reader. And she has a granddaughter named Charmaine, who's my cousin, I'm sorry. Well, I don't know if she's a cousin or second cousin, but she's got some kind of psychic abilities too a little bit. I mean, she sees some stuff. Dude, my whole family's got some stuff going on.
Okay.
That's the thing.
We have it in our family too.
Do you?
Mhm.
Like what? When I say psychic stuff, I mean it's kind of a broad term. I mean, like what kind of psychic stuff are you talking about?
Well, one of our podcasts had almost 9,000 views, and we talked about dreams. And in my podcast on dreams with about my daughter and me and all that stuff, we talked about how my daughter and I, we were hanging out one day, and she goes, "Daddy, you ever have dreams and they like come true?" I'm like, "Yeah, of course, sweetie. Everybody has little dreams that they want to have come true." She goes, "No, Daddy. I mean, like, you know, you have a dream and then like a few days or a week or a month later, it happens."
And it feels like deja vu.
Yeah, totally floored me when she said it, and she gave me a couple examples, and I go, "Yeah, sweetie, you know
That runs in the Social family.
that runs in the Social family. We're just a bunch of freaks." So there you go.
No.
No, but anyway, so she's had dreams like that. I've had dreams like that. I've had dreams where I've dreamt about stuff that happened 2-3 years
Really?
before, and then it's like an awakening when it's actually happening. I dreamt about the COVID thing. I dreamt about all the bodies being transported through the Gotthard Tunnel, and when they were first dying in northern Italy. And I dreamt about
You didn't.
all
never
of this.
told me that.
I haven't told you about this.
What?
I didn't put it together until I was finally awakening and realizing it. But anyways, so stuff like that,
That's
you know,
pretty big.
family reunions, things like that. I've dreamt about all that, and it's not always. Sometimes it's clear, and then sometimes it's a little bit like I have to kind of piece it
Right.
together. So, but this isn't about me. This is about you.
Well, okay. I mean, since you mentioned dreams, I mean, I never would have said 10 years ago. I mean, if someone said, "Hey, do you have any kind of psychic abilities?" I mean, I still say no. I don't have psychic abilities. My mom once had a. I mean, I could go down the list. I kind of have a timeline, but I don't. Let's break out of the timeline. Since you are mentioning dreams, I'm going to tell you a funny story actually, in regard to dreams.
All right.
I believe I had my first actual psychic dream around the beginning of October, right around October 1st.
Okay.
And the reason I know is because we just moved from my fiance and I moved from Lakewood to Huntington Beach. We were forced to move because the owners are selling the house. So The night before we were going to move into this house, I had this very vivid dream that in the living room there were bird cages, like interspersed throughout the living room, and in between there were candles burning, and it was dark. It was like, dude, it was like one of those. It was like a horror movie. There's like wind blowing, and the candles are flickering, and there's these bird cages, and in the bird cages were these like demon birds. And I don't know. At one point, I think one got out, and I grabbed it, and it kept trying to like bite me, and I just pulled its head off.
Nice, get it.
Dude, it was super
Get it.
vivid. I woke up, and I told my girlfriend or my fiance about it, and I'm like, hey, I had this crazy weird dream, about this and whatever. But so I'm trying to think real quick. So we move into the house, and in the first week that we move into this house, the first day, like we came home from work, there's a dead bird in the living room on the floor with the head missing. And I'm like,
Dude, that's gnarly right there.
That's weird. Okay. And I think 3 days that week we had a bird in the house, like a dead bird on the floor in the house.
With its head ripped off?
I'm not 100% sure, but I think most of them, yes. Within that week, though, I came home and there was a bird flapping around in my house. It was standing on the curtain rod, and I was like, holy shit. And I just kind of went up and it started flapping around. I was trying to shoo it out, and I shooed it out.
And then you grabbed it and pulled its head off, right?
No, I shoot it out. But so check this. Oh, okay, one other episode. So we went up to this restaurant up the street. It's a kebab place. And as I walk in, there's a bird flapping around. It's like freaking like dodging at my head. It's like, I mean, that sounds weird and creepy, but here's the deal. Maybe the next week or so, the owner's grandson comes by to pick up some stuff out of the garage. And I ask him, and I say, hey, I go, tell me about the house. Like, just tell me about the house. What how were the old owner or the old tenants, and tell me about them. And he goes on the story about how they were crazy, and the backyard was like full of all these bird cages, and it was such a mess. Like they were raising pigeons or raising doves or something. Mm-hmm. And when they left, like there were all these dead bird carcasses under the ground. And I mean, when I heard that, I was like, holy shit! I think that was a psychic dream, and that kind of like cinched it or whatever for me. So, I mean, I don't know if that was a psychic dream or not, but that's a lot of coincidences.
Well, yeah.
So,
so like maybe you entered the spirit world and killed the bird just before you arrived at the house, except 5 days later. Or maybe you envisioned that you were going to run into this bird with its head ripped off.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how it works.
I don't either.
Listen, my first experience with psychic dreams was my mom. I'll try to make this quick. My dad and my brother and I we scuba dive. And we were going night diving for lobster off the lagoon.
Free diver.
Oh, you're a free diver.
Mm-hmm.
I love free diving. So we were down scuba diving, under the water night diving, and the boat became unanchored. It like shifted in the sand, and it kind of went out to sea.
Scary at night.
It was pretty far. Yeah, we were far offshore.
Night is oof.
And we were like, oh shit, what are we gonna do? And so my dad, because I'm terrified of sharks. And my dad might be older, but he...
Natural response, right?
He swims the pier-to-pier, I mean, he did back then. Every year he'd swim the pier-to-pier from Manhattan to Redondo.
So he's a man's man.
He's a very athletic guy. And so we're like, you swim for it, Dad? It's way out there, You could see, like, the bow and stern lights were, like, this far. So he made a break for it. He swam for it, and he got it, and he brought it back. But the next morning, my mom called me, and she's like, hey... She's like, are you okay? I had this weird dream that you were out diving and your boat became unanchored. I mean, that's a psychic dream. Mm-hmm. I mean, straight out. She called it. And I was like, oh, shit.
Dude, that is gnarly.
Yeah.
Wow, that's like a terrifying thing. I mean, I've had boats come unanchored many times when I'm out diving on friends' boats. And, especially when there's a current ripping.
Oh, dude.
You got to chase the boat down. It can get really scary, especially scuba. Man, you got to, like, gear on you. So you're going, like, a quarter the speed that I can go.
Yeah.
But, that's gnarly, dude. That's a gnarly scenario, too.
Yeah, it's pretty gnarly.
So when you're out getting lobster and you're free diving, how do you hold on to them?
Hold on to lobsters?
Yeah,
you got, like, bags.
So
I have some of those bags
laying
around.
Catch your boat, would you let the bag go, or just hold
if
on
you had
to
a
lobsters?
big, if you had a full bag full of lobsters, yeah, you might be thinking about it.
Luckily, there were some rocks out there. I mean, kind of bigger rocks or whatever. And my brother and I kind of climbed up on him, grabbed his tank off and his weight belt, and he was just like on top of the water with his BC, and he was just swimming. The BC to buoyancy compensator.
Yep.
It's like a
Yeah.
So he's a really good swimmer, so he got to it pretty quick.
There's a lot of spear fishermen and ocean enthusiasts who watch this show, so they're familiar with all the the
Terminology.
terminology. Yes, thank you
Oh,
very
shit.
much. But for
Well-
those of you that don't know, that's what it is.
I had to make a free ascent when I was 15 years old, scuba diving off of San Miguel Island. I was about 60 feet down with my dad, and
Get you another
about 60 feet down, and I don't know. I was just cruising around, and I took a breath, and all of a sudden it wouldn't breathe. I mean, I think the regulator broke. My dad's like, "No, you're ran out of air." I'm like, "Dude, he's."
No, Dad.
He had some pretty shoddy equipment. So I think the regulator broke.
Hey, Dad, this cable looks a little warm. Don't worry about it. You'll be fine.
Yeah, exactly.
See
I'm
it now.
telling you. And back then there weren't.
Quit
it
being a
was,
pussy.
dude, it was like late 80s. Or it was late 80s. So we didn't have an octopus where you can breathe off of. You had to either buddy breathe or make a free ascent. And I just chose to make a free ascent. And I made it. I was 15. I remember.
How long were you down before you decided you had to, before you realized you had to come up at 60 feet?
That's a good question. The first thing that went through my head was I thought, "Do not panic." That was the first thought that went through my head.
Oh,
And
smart man.
I remember that straight out. And then I was like, "Oh, I gotta go tell my dad that I'm out of air," because one time he got pissed off at me that we got separated off of Santa Cruz Island,
Uh-huh.
and there was all these little like sharks on the bottom, horn sharks or leopard sharks or whatever, and I was like playing with him, and I didn't pay attention that he was like gone. I didn't care, and he was
yeah.
all pissed. He's like, "Don't ever I was up there waiting for you."
I was excited, Dad.
So I swam over to him to tell him I was out of air, and then I made a free ascent. So it seemed like forever, dude. And
Sure.
you can't swim up very fast because your air expands. Oops, sorry.
Yeah.
Air expands as it rises. So the main thing is I wanted to exhale the whole time. As long as you're exhaling, I was breathing out as hard as I could actually. Because I was swimming a little faster than I should have probably.
Yeah, once you breathe compressed air and you got an air full of lungs, or lung full of air, excuse me,
Yeah.
other way around. Air,
That
I
could
can
cause
feel
an
my
air
hand in my air.
embolism.
And if you're down for too long, that's why I was asking, is the whole bend phenomenon.
Yeah, it's crazy that you say that because that was the last dive of a 3-day dive trip, and then we've been diving for 3 days, all the Channel Islands, and so, Jesus, I mean I probably had a lot of nitrogen in my blood, and I don't know, man. I got to the surface and I was like, "Oh shit, am I okay?" What? And then nothing happened. That was
Nice.
it. I
Well,
made it.
obviously you're still here.
Yeah.
Man, you guys got a lot in common.
You're
Like,
yeah.
Band,
Musician,
diver,
fisherman.
Yeah, all the
There
above.
you go.
psychic dream.
Cheese and rice.
Well,
So
Tuna casserole.
beans and cheese. You gonna have some beans and cheese over there? God damn. Hey, so what else?
all right. So check it out.
All
So
right, I'm checking it.
I never really thought about that kind of stuff when I was a kid. In fact, when I was a kid, one Christmas probably, I got a Ouija board for Christmas.
Nice.
Okay.
Great start.
So, dude, back in those days, I mean, I was born in '71, so maybe it was around 1981 or '82 or something. I probably got a Ouija board. I mean, back then it was a Parker Brothers game.
Mm-hmm.
So
See, so it was stamped safe and sane.
it was
Exactly.
just a game.
Parker Brothers, come on! What could be wrong?
I was always freaked out by ghosts, though. I don't. When you're a kid, you're like, "Holy shit,"
That just makes it go to 11 right there.
the concept of the game. Where does it come from?
The
What's
Ouija
its
board?
origin? Yeah.
Why don't you look it up there, Brainiac?
I'm not 100% sure.
God.
I do know
Dude,
that.
pull it up. Pull it up on our.
Well, it's because I have the live chat, and
Put the
and
live chat on
Your
there.
friend Gabriel said, before you told me about your new band, I dreamt that you went to a concert. I dreamt that I went to a concert in Cancun and you were singing.
Oh, let's hope that's a psychic dream.
Dude, I like it already. And hey, Gabriel, right?
Yeah,
We're Jorge and I in the audience because we'd really like to be in the audience there.
dude.
So can you work on that dream a little more? Because I'd like to be there right now.
Gabriel's in it. He's a
Or
stud,
3
dude.
months from now. I don't care.
His grandpa was a general in the Mexican army back in
Oh,
the day.
shit.
Yeah,
Holy
shit.
shit. Santana.
Santana. Who's it? Panchitita?
Tata Dios, gringos.
No, Zapata? Oh, it was just
Hijo
an
de la
idea.
chingada.
It was an idea. The Ouija board was an idea by Elijah Bond, who was like a businessman back in the 1800s. He filed a patent for it. It's just like, hey, this is a cool game.
You know what we and Ja stand for? Or mean? Well, I mean, I don't know. They say it's a mix of yes and no. We, yes in French, and Ja. I'm sorry, yes and yes. We in French.
Oui, ja.
And Ja, I don't know, what is that? In German?
Ja.
There you go. Yes
Sure.
and yes.
Why not? Hey, George.
Yeah.
Do you mind pulling up the chat on that phone? and turning that one to our web view so we can pull up some stuff.
Sure. I'll do that whenever
I
we have something to look at.
Like
Or-
you.
Yeah.
We did.
Yeah. Well,
The
it's over
Ouija
now.
board.
Oh yeah, but we just looked it up.
I need it
All right,
now.
so-
I want to
Please continue,
know.
Christian, with your story.
Sorry.
No problem. So, I mean, I guess I played with it when I was a kid for a while. I mean, I'm sure I did now and then, but I got to be honest, like nothing ever came of it. I mean,
It's fun to play with.
I don't remember anything like, oh shit, this happened. It was none of that stuff. But
The walls didn't start bleeding.
no,
Okay.
but I do remember. I mean, when I was like 18 years old, I used to. It was in my trunk for years. I drove around with it in my trunk for years and years. I don't know why it ended up in my trunk, but I mean, there were points where I was like hanging out with Kenny's girlfriend, and we'd go to like a cemetery and sit there and just mess around with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've done that.
Just have you?
Yeah.
I mean,
That was a good.
Right.
Ooh, it
I
sounds
got
like
a
there's some
crazy
meat in there.
Yep. I got a crazy story about that too.
do you?
Yeah.
Well, tell me.
Oh, okay. Well, it was with so after that experience that I had mentioned earlier, we decided to get a Ouija board, and we went out to the cemetery. And prior to that, we had used it everywhere, right? Just to try to speak
Yeah.
with the spirit. And we went to this cemetery that's in Pedro, in San Pedro, that's where I grew up.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a tiny little cemetery. We hop the gate, we start looking around, there's all these old, tombstones and whatnot. They call them tombstones, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got it.
Okay. So, we're looking at these old tombstones, and we're like, hey, let's just, stop here. And we start using it. And after about 10 minutes, like, we get like this chill, right? And it's like late at night. And the wind starts howling, and just the weird shit starts happening. And it gets scary, almost like a hurricane type of hit. It just out of nowhere.
Really?
Yeah, it was the weirdest fucking thing. And then we see like this light in the distance, and we thought that it was like a cop, right, with the lights in the car, or whatever, the spotlight.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh shit, we gotta get that because there's a security guard. But this light was just like really dim. So I'm like, okay, maybe it's not security guard or cop, and it's just like chilling, like in the distance, like out in the dark. Okay, whatever. And we're picking up our stuff, and this light just starts to get brighter. And I'm like, oh shit, it's getting closer. Whatever it is, it's a car that's driving towards us. So we start running. And as I'm running, and we're running towards the gate, I'm looking at my shadow on the ground, and it gets so bright that you see your shadow just extend, right?
Really?
And it was fucking bright, like almost like as if the sun was there. And it lit up everything, and I just saw my shadow just extend, and I saw both of our shadows just extend, and I just didn't look back. I just kept running. We hopped the gate, and by the time we got over the gate, we went black.
That's
Pitch
crazy.
black.
That's pretty crazy, dude.
I mean, I've heard of like.
That's some legit shit right there.
Oh yeah. And after that, I threw it away.
Yeah, it took me a lot longer to throw mine away, but I did throw it away for sure. I mean, let me see. I'm gonna look at my notes a little bit real quick here. I mean, as far as the Ouija board is concerned, I mean, I didn't really mess around with it. I mean, I messed around with it, but I didn't have anything that crazy happen as a kid. And to be honest, even as an adult, nothing really crazy happened. I remember one night, playing on it, and it was really talking to us, and it was a certain couple that we were hanging out with. My buddy Paul, that guy I keep talking about. But other than that, like I never really had it do much. But what followed, me using it was when weird stuff might happen. It wasn't the board that was like, oh wow, it's like spelling out somebody's name. I mean, it did it once or twice in my life. But it was. Here's what we're gonna do. So check this out. I'm gonna get right into it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dude, here we go. The meat.
Okay, so here's the deal. I'll go. Remind me to go back to Japan too. Later on.
I would love to go back to
I'm
Japan.
going to explain, why I, think about Japan a little bit right now. But anyway, so around the time I was probably 20, I had been playing with the Ouija board a little bit in the cemetery and stuff, and we tried it in my mother's house in Lakewood. She still lives there. And around that time, one night, I was getting ready to go out to Hollywood to hang out and party or whatever the hell we were going to do. I mean, it was back in, I don't know, it was around 91, probably, 91. And I just took a shower. I was thinking about getting laid, I'm sure. You know what I mean? And I was walking down the hallway near the bathroom towards my bedroom, or it wasn't really my bedroom, but my old bedroom. And out of the blue, something just whispered my name in my ear. It was in my right ear, and it was so unbelievably clear. It was like somebody cupped their hand over my ear and whispered my name. And it caught me so off guard. I mean, it was the last thing I was thinking about. I was thinking about getting laid. And I dropped. This is going to sound funny. I dropped to my fucking knees in terror. I mean, I was fucking terrified. It was scary. And I immediately just like, holy shit. I started crawling to the front door. And my mom is this security freak. So there's like 8 deadbolts, and none of them have keys on the inside. So I can't get out. I'm like, oh my God. And then the phone starts ringing. And I was like, holy shit. And I crawl to the phone and I pick it up. And in my head, I'm thinking, please, somebody answer. And I pick it up and it was like dead. Like just nothing. And I was like, oh my God. So that was it. I mean, that was my first, paranormal experience. I mean, that was what I thought was my first paranormal experience. And that was what started, some years of some weirdness in my mom's house. I mean, it was something that, there was something in the house that would whisper in people's ears. And according to my mom, it still does. And my mom is a Christian. And my mom, for years, was like, there's no such thing as ghosts. And so she would deny it. And
does she still deny it?
No. Now that I'm older, and she just doesn't.
I don't need to protect my poor baby anymore.
I think it's more.
Mom, do you believe? Oh, fuck yeah, I do.
Fucking A.
Maybe. She's not as devout as she used to be.
Yeah. Suddenly, I'm gonna entertain some other stuff here.
Yeah, maybe. They just didn't want to humor it before, but now it's like, there is. Her husband would be like, yeah, your mom says no, but yeah, there is something. But I mean, it was to the point where my girlfriend at the time, we'd be sitting there watching TV. This isn't whispering in your ear, but we'd be sitting there watching TV in the living room, and the radio in the back bedroom would come on loud, and I'd get up and we'd go back there and turn it off, and then by the time we came back, the TV was turned off. It would do shit like that, like a couple of times a night. It was just fucking with you, which I didn't like.
It's an old lady goes, turn off my TV.
Yeah.
Right.
It's weird. I've had starting around that time. As soon as whatever band I was in back then, we rehearsed in the garage there, and we had this really cool little studio set up in there, and I would go in there and write music by candlelight and all kinds of stuff. I'm surprised nothing ever bothered me. Although I feel like I was inspired, to write stuff like crazy dark, cool stuff, back then. But I mean, anybody who creates something, you feel like it comes from someone else, But
like the movie Soul. We talked about that.
Which one?
Oh yeah,
movie Soul.
Oh, it's a new Pixar movie. Soul.
Oh,
it kind of touches on the afterlife.
The connection between the flow zone of playing music and being connected to the afterlife.
I've heard of it.
It's pretty rad.
I do want to see it actually.
Spoiler alert.
I just around that time I had a dream. And I don't really want to actually, to be honest. I don't want to say the D word very often here. I'm just going to say it once, basically.
You mean
basically? I had a dream. It was a really vivid dream. It was like unseen hands were playing our instruments out in the garage, and the music was horrifying. And I was like terrified. It was like, and I went out in my dream, and I opened the door, and they're all like the guitars are like playing themselves and shit.
This is a dream?
It was a dream. And that was the first of demon dreams that I've had. And I've had multiple recurring dreams, usually once a week or once every 2 weeks since about that age. And they've kind of stopped. I haven't had...
You've exorcised a demon?
I mean, I feel, I don't allow any of that dark stuff. The thing is, I'm doing all this. I'm doing all this tonight, but to be honest, I don't think about this stuff on purpose. Good. And I'll explain why as we get a little bit deeper.
Okay.
Let's move on. I'm going to actually move on here.
Wait, I want to share one thing before you go to the next thing.
Sir.
So, I used to be in this band called Tribe Sapien, and there was times when we were practicing in our studio, and everything was just all aligned, and everything felt good. And I swear to God, we heard voices singing, like angelic voices along with us. Yep. Mm-hmm. Several times, actually.
So, as a musician, what do you think about the name Tribe Sapien?
I think it's a cool name.
But
it was a fun band.
Like if you guys had met when you were young.
No, that sounds like...
I think I've met you before, actually.
That sounds like kind of like hippie rock or whatever.
Yeah, it was like tribal, funk, progressive, hard, heavy metal.
Love it.
I've met you before. I think.
Oh,
I
I'm
think
sure.
you tried
In
out
a
for
dream?
one. No. I think you tried out for one of a band I was
Where
trying to get together
what city?
in Long Beach.
In Long Beach. I
Did you-
tried out for some band that played almost like a Tool type of band.
That was us.
Was that
Yep.
you?
hmm
You guys?
That's
gave-
why I when I saw you and you came in, we started talking. Like, I recognize this guy. Where the hell? And then you started telling this
No
story about had a
way.
girlfriend and
Did-
Huntington
what
Beach.
did you
And I'm
play?
like, I played bass, and my friend Renee was a short Filipino guy,
Okay.
and then Rick was kind of.
You guys didn't give me a tape and ask, or like a tape of some music without melodies on it and ask me to put some melodies over it,
Singing melodies.
would you? Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, so it was that.
Yeah. I don't even know what happened.
Shit. I don't know.
Anyways,
Wait, so
I
how
do
old
remember
were you
seeing
guys?
you. I was like,
We're about the same age.
Yeah, you're the same age. You guys
Right.
both
it's
are
like
50.
15, 18 years ago.
Yeah, for
About
sure,
that.
dude. Yes, it was. Terra Mater, that band that we were like, had the fetish model.
See, the music industry is very small.
That I just left Terra Mater. Yeah.
And
I
you
remember.
were looking for a band at the time.
Yeah.
I remember.
Yeah.
I know Rick would recognize you.
Crazy,
Dude, that's so rad. It's great that we've realigned again. Here we are,
dude, that's crazy, man.
isn't it?
Yes, it's unbelievable.
Dude.
It's crazy to think about. Actually,
Yeah.
like,
Unfortunately, we
what
never
the
got that second project off the ground. I don't know why. Something just wouldn't come together on that.
Wow.
You know how that is.
See,
No,
maybe
dude, it's
that's why I
tough.
was so excited about this, because I felt like you guys were going to click, and I was so excited.
That's
I was
what you
hoping-
said.
How's that for psychic?
Dude, I was texting Christian, like, oh my god, dude, like, you have no idea how excited I am. Like, in my head, I'm thinking, Eric and him are going to click. They're just...
Dude, you
Oh
had
my God.
Christian. You had some rad stories back then, dude. You had some rad stories.
Yeah, we're not
oh
going to
my
talk
God.
about those right now. I
No,
know.
I'll
I
leave
know
those
which ones.
alone.
I know which one you're talking
I'm
about.
shit. Okay, good.
Those are probably anyway.
There was a wife and there was
Yeah.
stuff.
Oh
yeah.
fuck! You really do remember
Dude,
that?
dude,
What?
how could I forget those stories, dude? They were so rad. I was
Yeah.
like, oh my God, this guy is living the ultimate rock star lifestyle.
Yeah, my second daughter's listening to this.
Okay. Well, hey, I haven't said anything.
That's
I'm
Taylor.
being cool. It's like, dude,
she
Christian,
knows all about
how rad
everything.
is that, dude?
That's fucking amazing, dude.
It's so rad.
The fact that we're doing a podcast about this stuff and that this is like a psychic thing. You know what? I don't put. Listen, I'm just gonna mention Joaquin one more time. I don't put anything past Joaquin. Joaquin introduced me to Zen and this whole. He's a very spiritual dude. Anyway,
And
We're quasi-spiritual.
I tried to get him on here for that.
We're quasi-
You know.
dude, yeah, Joaquin talked about it. We're talking about coming on together. We got some crazy
Oh, no,
shit
yeah.
to talk
Yeah,
about.
and-
Dude, you
I'm
guys
glad
should,
of that.
man. We love it.
Oh yeah. All right, so
Oh,
do
this
you
is
mind if I
crazy.
move on? Let's.
I'm tripping out.
Let's,
Like, how the fuck do you remember that and those stories?
Dude,
I
man.
don't
when,
know. I knew you looked
when-
familiar.
when you're in the music industry, for as long as we've been in the music industry, you get to know people
Well,
and you remember people.
Well, think about it. Had I not reached out to Joaquin, and then Joaquin, had to bail, like, this never would have happened. You would have gone on with your life and never seen him again, and we never would have been talking about this.
Dude,
They
this
never would have
is
reconnected.
more special for me than for you guys. I mean, this is something special for me. I'm
Dude,
stoked.
love it, man.
This is great.
Yeah.
I knew I liked you guys when you talked about. First of all, I liked you guys from the start. I looked at your podcast like thumbnail and I was like, these guys are gonna be something. This is something cool. And
Oh, I
then
hope so.
you're super easy going to talk to.
Yeah.
Any friend of Joaquin's a friend of mine. Secondly, and then you mentioned whiskey, and I was like, holy shit! I love these dudes.
Oh, wait, I got to say a quick thank you to AJ Wiener from
Oh my god.
Radio KAJW
Ooh.
for bringing this on our last podcast. He was on last Wednesday. It's this beautiful, beautiful Heaven's Door. It's the Bob
whiskey.
Dylan whiskey, and
Ooh,
it's some
so
good
good.
stuff.
Yeah,
Can you?
love it.
Can I get that, please?
Yeah, dude.
Would you like
Go,
some
my
more
brother.
Bob Dylan whiskey.
Yeah,
Love it.
I'll drink Bob Dylan whiskey on a Friday or Saturday night. Last week on Wednesday, I went to work and I was just like, God, I need to be sharp right now, and I'm not. So glad you guys are enjoying.
Cool
Yeah.
story, Eric.
I have a special place
Right
in my
on.
heart for whiskey.
Totally useless story. Hope you enjoyed it.
Love it.
So somebody had. Oh, so Taylor had said that house. That
Oh.
house that you were mentioning.
Yes, they painted the walls behind us. That's probably what she's talking about.
And this is that house, and Christy said, "Oh my God, you know, your dad."
Ah, shit.
Yeah.
Christian, you're my hero.
All right, so check
I'll be
this
right
out.
back. Anybody else want a beer or a drink?
Oh no, I just.
Ah, fuck it.
All right.
No, well,
I'll take one of those
Twist
hazy
rubber on?
IPAs. take a hazy IPA. I don't really want to move on with the paranormal stuff until the whole crew is here. Dude, isn't that a trip?
Dude, I'm tripping the fuck out. Like,
Thank
I'm so
you.
excited, and something inside me was like,
Oh
You
yeah.
knew something
I
was right.
knew something was right. But like, you know when the stars are aligned, and I'm like, dude, something feels really
Dude.
good about this.
Cheers to reunited.
Skull.
I say bros. I say bros because that's my German heritage.
Nice.
Swiss.
Yeah, dude.
Unzo.
It's I'm tripping out.
It's
I
crazy.
just knew it. It's like something magical's gonna happen. And look at that.
Look at that.
It's rad.
Wow.
So, okay, I'm gonna tell you a quick story.
Okay.
So after that period at my mom's house, you know, where the thing kind of whispered in my ear, I wasn't really like, I kind of wasn't into, I wasn't thinking about paranormal stuff all the time because our band was, you know, we were playing Hollywood and Orange County and stuff. And we were playing the Whiskey and the Roxy and all these different places. And I was more, you know, I was more thinking about Whiskey.
I miss those days.
Oh God, yeah, it was awesome.
It's fun.
At one point, I kind of stopped playing music and I got into school. I went to Long Beach City College for X-ray. My mom signed me up for it. It was just it was a weird scenario. I had to move back home. I broke up with a girlfriend, and I was like, God, Mom, I got to live at home for a little bit. And she's like, well, if you're going to live at home, I'm signing you up for school. And I was like, all right, whatever. And I just said whatever. But I did show up, and I started going. And anyway, everything kind of led to, you know, one thing after the other. But anyway, so I'm in the X-ray program at Long Beach City College, and we're in this. It's like there's a classroom, and they call it a lab. It's an X-ray lab where they have X-ray machines and stuff. And they have a dark room where you can go and process the films and stuff like that. And I went to school with this guy from Laos. He was my age at the time. I think I was like 26. And his name was Darren. Dude, he grew up in a tree in Laos. I mean, literally, he said, I wore a pair of red shorts my whole life, like his whole childhood. He was like fucking, what's that dude from Jungle Book?
Dude,
Mowgli.
oh yeah, Mowgli.
He was like Mowgli. And so he said that they lived in a hut in a tree, and when the monsoons would rise during the monsoon season, like they would rise up to his doorstep, and they'd take a net and just go whoosh, and they'd scoop up water beetles and stir fry them and eat them. I mean, that's what they would.
Nice.
That's the kind of shit they were eating.
Protein.
And they would eat field rat. Anyway, so I'm setting
Don't
it up.
diss the fodder, dude.
Oh, yeah.
No, dude, I'll eat anything. I'll eat a bug. I mean, I don't care.
You eat about 4 pounds a year, brother.
Oh, I'm sure I do.
Yeah.
When I'm asleep.
Yeah, even in your food.
Yeah.
In one handful of grain is allowed to have 4 mealworms in it per the FDA.
Really?
Yep.
Interesting. Oh, they're allowed to have. Oh, God.
You are allowed to have 4 mealworms per handful of grain. That's acceptable.
Oh, that's nasty. Yeah, whatever. I don't care.
Bugs are good for you.
Right. No, I'm sure they are.
It's about 4 to 5 pounds of bugs a year. Average human eats unknowingly.
I used to buy these protein bars that are cricket protein.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Exo bars. But anyway, so I'm setting this story up. This guy that lived in Laos, basically Pol Pot, who was the dictator in Cambodia, or the communist guy, he killed like 30 million people in those days, and his village was one of the people that were, they were raided, and he lost a lot of relatives, and he came to the USA. The reason I'm setting this story up is because this guy was in my class, and he's not the type of guy who's going to make up some story. Like,
It's a gnarly story.
he's been through some shit. So this guy, he's in our X-ray class, and he goes into the dark room to process like an X-ray film. And he comes out, and he's white. He's white, and his eyes are all big. And I'm like, "What's up, Darren?" And he's like, "I saw somebody in there." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "There was a white guy in there." The way he described it was he was in the dark processing the film, like developing the film. And he looked over, and there was a dude like looking at him. But then he looked down, and he realized the guy didn't have any lower half, like he was just an upper half of a body. And he ran out of the room. He was freaked out. And so we went to the teacher, Mr. Steele, Jim Steele, and we made him tell Mr. Steele what he saw. And Jim Steele got this weird look on his face, and he walked over to the wall. There's all these in my wallet. I have a picture of our graduating class from that year. And there was all these graduating class pictures on the wall. And he pointed to this guy and he goes, "Was that him?" And Darren said, "That was him." and I guess the guy died when he was in the X-ray program before he got to graduate. He died of cystic fibrosis, and I guess that they'd seen him a bunch of times in the classroom.
Crazy.
So that was one of the first real like ghost things that I'd ever experienced in my life. So the shit starts to progress. I mean, I graduate from X-ray, and then I go to school for nuclear med, and then my first job, like a year later in nuclear med, I'm working at Little Company Mary Hospital. And this is the first time I actually see something with my own eyes. I'm sitting there, it's, after hours. When I say after hours, it's probably like 5 or 6 at night, and everybody else has gone home. And I'm scanning a patient. Like, I'm looking through the glass at, I'm just kind of zoning out. Like, here's the glass, the patient is on the other side. And it's dim in the room. And behind me is a doorway to my left, and it's real bright in there. That's the hot lab where we keep all the radioactive stuff. And I'm just kind of zoning out, looking through the glass into the scan room, and I see somebody just kind of like perks me up, and I see somebody walking into the room. They're walking like real quick. And I stood up, I turned around to meet him, and there's nobody there. And I was like, And so I looked, I checked the department, there's nobody in the department, the doors were locked because it was after hours, and I was like, oh shit, I know who it was. When I was hired at that place the year before, I replaced this guy named Emily. He was an old Filipino guy who had worked there for, 30 years. And he died of some kind of cancer, probably liver cancer, I think it was. And I don't know if he died in the hospital, but, he died while he was employed. And I remember he was wearing a flannel, like a blue flannel or something. And so the next day, when the girls who I worked with, the women, they came in, and I said, hey, did Emery ever wear a blue flannel? And they said, yeah, he wore it every day. And I was like, I think I saw him last night. And I, described everything. I was like, oh shit. And it wasn't, I didn't get the impression that it was like, hey, oh my God, this guy's walking in, he's going to really talk to me. I got the impression, because he had this fixed look on his face, almost like he was working. It was almost like, they always say, what do they call it, residual haunting, as opposed to an active haunting.
Okay.
So, anyway, I saw something. That was the first time I believe I really saw something. And I mean, what is seeing something anyway? I mean, is it in your head? Is it really your eyes are seeing it? I don't know.
I want to say something about that if I could.
Go ahead.
That is a common debate among people who are very scientific minded. Well, it's a neurosynaptic thing, and you have neurosynaptic activity, and this happens in the brain, and that happens in the brain. You're like, okay, that's great. You're describing what happens in the brain. Okay, what's driving what's happening in the brain? And that's always the argument I bring it back to at the very top of the whole food chain, or the pyramid, is what's driving the activity in the brain. And I don't just mean like, your brain decides that your brain wants to do this and your brain wants to do that, and therefore your brain has decided it. No, there's something pushing on that decision making. So think about that for a second.
I mean, that may be true. I mean, the way I look at it is, your brain is either going to see something that refracts light, and your eyes take in an image by refracting light and turning it into a signal into your brain, and that's how an image is made. I mean, for people who maybe see spirits, are they, sometimes maybe they're actually seeing something from outside that you can take a picture of with a camera, or maybe sometimes they're seeing something from inside because they're psychic. I don't know.
So
all possible answers to that question.
So how do you think a camera can pick up a ghost in the background?
You have to describe whether a ghost is a light phenomenon, a particle phenomenon, or both, or if it's something else. But either way, just like the brain is doing something, the brain is reacting to something. So the camera is reacting to something that's happening outside of the physical realm, but it's influencing the physical realm to where there's actual capturable electromagnetic something. It's all based on spectrum and waveform. Right? All energy and all matter is spectrum and waveform. So something's being picked up, but what's causing that something to happen that the camera's picking up from a spectrum, wave, or particle phenomenon?
I mean, it has to be. We're gonna have to talk more deeply about pictures. I mean, because I had an experience once with a camera and kept capturing something on film or in a digital camera, but eventually on film. That is, I mean, it's something I still think about almost every single day, and I mean, it's at least been 15 years.
I feel the intensity already.
Dude, I can't.
I mean, the whole energy in here changed as soon as you started telling this story.
I'm not going to get into this yet because this is like, to me, this is the most climactic thing I could possibly talk about. The only thing about this is I have no way to prove it to you. So all I can do is tell you a story, and I'll explain why I have no way to prove it to you either. But let's move on. I'll get to that. That thing I'd like to save for last, or at least near the end, because it's such an intense experience. It was so crazy that it still gives me goosebumps.
Yeah.
Dude, I think about it. I think about it sometimes every day.
Can I share a couple of ghost things before you go on? And I'll make them real quick,
please,
only because I want to validate your experiences. Okay.
Please.
All right. So, about 20 years ago, I was in Switzerland. I was visiting my family. Well, half of my family lives in Switzerland, and this is in Lucerne, in Heggesville, and it's winter, and we're hanging out in my mom's condo with her boyfriend at the time, and now they're married. It's winter. It's dead calm. It's nighttime. It's dark in the house. We're sitting at the little small kitchenette that they had in that condo, and we're playing cards. And everything's real quiet in there. There's no windows open, no air conditioning, nothing, because it's the dead of winter. There's nothing going on, and the heaters are all surface heaters in other rooms. And in the hallway, just outside of this kitchen area, there was a table and this little, those little things that spin around when you put the candles under them, and they go ding, 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 ding on the bell, like the little mobiles or whatever. Yeah. So we had this metal mobile that was sitting there, and so there I am with my mom, her boyfriend at the time, Robbie, and me. We're sitting there playing cards, having drinks, just being real quiet, and Robbie stops in the middle of a hand and looks up like that, and ding 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 of that little mobile in the other room. There was no candles under it. It wasn't lit. There was no draft. There was no furnaces. Nothing blowing on that thing. That thing spun out of control. And it was so crazy because Robbie's really psychic, and he looked up from his hand like that, and then it just happened. It was insane. And we went and we checked like the whole thing, looked around. Nothing was causing that to happen. Nothing. And that thing was metal, so it needed some weight to really move. That was pretty insane.
Why did he look up like that?
He's psychic.
He
feels those energies.
I've experienced a couple things like that, and in school and at home, like just random, like something startles me and I look in the direction where it's about to happen.
Yeah,
and it's either a noise or something slammed.
That's called clairvoyance.
Yeah, but at home I remember one day I was just sitting on the computer, just messing around. It's like 2004, and I'm all day on the computer, and I feel something, and then I turn around real quick, and then there's just this loud bang. Didn't sound like the wall. It didn't sound like something slammed on the
Hearing
floor.
the pin drop before it drops.
Yep. And I turned around real quick. And I caught it.
Telling you, man.
It was crazy.
Okay, one more story, and then I want to go back to Christian. So I wanted to comment on you and the strange energies that may or may not be following you, either always following you or happen to be in the area where you happen to be and you are in tune with them. There was a while here in this house for a couple years where I felt like there was some energies, and the neighbors next door told me, and we're going to have Dana come over and talk about. He's an engineer. He used to work for Southern California Edison, but he's an engineer, real bright guy, and he has something going on over there that's insane. But I think that energy tried to come over here, and there was it was just very mischievous and dastardly energy, and it terrified me. And he explained it as he said it was two horrific female entities. But I don't know if he still wrestles with them or not, but I felt like they were coming over to our house, and I was getting, pecked on by him. But I got rid of him.
How?
See the thing in the background? That thing? I created a metaphysical energy shield and did
I've read about
my
those.
Zen movements and created clarity and basically made a shield around myself, and I have not had them back since. It stopped the next day.
Really?
Where'd you learn how to do that?
I didn't. It just felt like the right thing to do.
Isn't that crazy how you just naturally feel like this is the right ritual?
Yeah,
You
it just
don't
felt
want-
like the right thing to do.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it is just believing.
Yeah, believe me. Yeah, for sure.
Well, I mean, I was talking to you about things that I feel like protect me or whatever. I mean, I believe in angels and all that different stuff. I mean, I've learned to kind of pray stuff away. I mean, that's what I always call it, pray it away. I mean,
However you do it, you're tapping into an energy that affects the wave or particle phenomenon that we capture in our physical world.
thank you. I think it's just energy.
Dude, remember that story I told you when I went to Sonoma?
Oh yeah,
That was the gnarliest thing, and I'll never forget it.
That was scary, dude.
Well, can I tell the story real quick? It'll just take a minute. Do it. So my girlfriend and I we went out to Sonoma for the first time, and she's been there before, and I have her, whatever. So we went, we were enjoying it. We're in this like secluded cabin up on the hill. It was really nice, right? And it has a lot of land, trees. You have deer walking around, right? It's nice. And not too far, not too far. You have a little town. But dude, the first night was fine. The second night, like something inside me was like, something is coming, and it was like a bad energy. Never felt it before, and all I could think was, maybe like in an Indian gravesite or something, right? But whatever was outside didn't want me there, or was on its way, or it's just making its presence known, right? But all night I was waking up, and when I would wake up in the middle of the night, I woke up maybe 12 times that night, and each time that I would wake up, I was alert, 100% ready to go. Adrenaline wasn't pumping. I was just looking at the door the entire time.
And you've stayed places before in your life where you didn't feel that way, like out of your comfort zone and out of
but it wasn't this bad. And the funny thing is, my girlfriend was waking up too. And she would move around and wake up. She's like, "What's wrong?" And I would have to, I was trying to make her feel comfortable, but I'm like, "Hey, no, I just woke up. I heard something. Right, go back to sleep." But she was having the same feeling. But she wasn't waking up and moving around. She was just opening her eyes. And so when I told her in the morning, I'm like, "Dude, something was outside, and I could feel it, and something was coming. I couldn't sleep. It kept waking me up. I kept looking at the damn door like something was gonna approach it, and it was just a bad energy." And she's like, "Yeah, I felt it too."
I'm sorry to take this away from you, Christian, but I see in your notes that you have sleep paralysis, and I know you're going to get to it. But I want to share something that ties into what he's saying. Me and Renee, that was the guitar player that you met when we were doing the cool type music. So I remember one time we went out for dinner. Him and we were living together back when we were still in the Tribe Sapien band. And one night I remember we went to bed, and he's in his room, I'm in my room, and I felt like something was holding me down on my bed, like pushing me down, and I couldn't get up. And I was like, "What the hell?" I woke up at I don't know, 12, 1 in the morning. We'd gone to bed around 10 or 11. I woke up at 1 in the morning, and something was like I almost couldn't breathe. Like something was pushing me down and holding me onto the bed, and I couldn't move, and I was like totally trapped, and it was really scary.
That is terrifying.
And I talked to Renee the next morning and told him what had happened. He goes, "Dude, the same thing happened to me."
Dude,
I was like,
that's
"Fuck, you're
terrifying.
kidding me, man!" Both of us. It happened to both of us.
I hate that. I mean, I've had that happen numerous times in my life. Not recently, thankfully. All that kind of ended when I left that house up the street. I'm gonna move on to that stuff. I mean, because that's basically where the next chapter of my life took me. We bought a house in the Cliff May, one of the Cliff May houses.
Yeah, just down over here.
Yeah, in Eldorado Park Estates.
Nice houses too.
Oh, it was a nice house. I mean, we bought it in 2002 for $409. It's worth like what, I don't fucking know.
Probably
Yeah,
one.
yeah, something like
1.1.
that. Yeah. Not well. At the time, I was married, and my daughter was about 2 years old, and the house was huge. It was a big ass house, and the master bedroom's on one side of the house, and my daughter's room in the guest room were on the other side of the house. And so, um, we decided like I'm gonna sleep in the master bedroom for a while, and my wife at the time would sleep with my daughter in the other side of the house. It just didn't feel safe, like leaving her all the way over there. She was only 2 years old, you know.
Sure.
There's a lot of sliding windows and sliding doors. And so one night I was, sleeping in the master bedroom, and I don't know, I got this weird feeling, and I rolled over and I opened my eyes, and there was a red floating figure. That's all I can describe, is like kind of a red oval floating next to the bed.
Let me guess, the red lady.
I mean, listen, I'm calling it the red lady, and the reason I call
I looked at your notes.
Yeah.
I'm cheating. I totally cheated. That was me cheating. I cheated.
That's
Sorry.
okay. So the red lady, makes a couple of appearances in the house. So I basically, the big brave guy I am, I bolt out of bed and run through the house like, oh, and I run in. It's in the middle of the night, and my ex-wife was like, wow, what's wrong? What's wrong? And I was like, I was like, nothing. I don't know. I must have been dreaming. That's basically, I think I said something like that. And I went back to sleep. But the next morning, she goes, it's so weird. My daughter's name is Annika. She goes, Annika goes, who was that red lady in the house last night?
No!
And I was like, oh, fuck.
Shit.
All right, so you hear that in a lot of ghost stories,
Yeah.
like setups like that.
Yeah, right?
Okay, so I'm going to keep going down the
Has
line.
the making for a good ghost story. For reals.
I mean, that
like
sounds
a movie
like
shit.
somebody wrote a movie
Totally
ghost story.
scripted.
Okay, so I guess I'll touch on, as far as the red lady's concerned. A few years later, my ex-wife was sleeping. We swapped. I mean, I never slept with her. That's why we got a divorce. I mean, we slept in separate bedrooms. So she was sleeping in the master bedroom, and I'm sleeping in the guest room at this point. And she was asleep on the bed. And we had a Great Dane, and the Great Dane was asleep at the foot of the bed. And basically, she got woken up by the sound of scratching, I don't know, on the headboard or something. I don't know what. So she opened her eyes, and when she opened her eyes, at the foot of the bed was that red floating figure. And she said the dog was staring at it, and then she said it just kind of took off, like streaked to the left, and just I don't know if she said it disappeared, but just streaked to the left, and the dog's eyes and head followed it. But that's the only other red lady experiences we have in the house.
I'm having this birds of a feather flock together kind of feeling about that neighborhood and people who are spiritually inclined, and the people who have lived there before, and would buy an artisan's house, and they're in tune people, and they're really good people, so of course they're gonna attract all the psychic energy.
Dude, let me
and
tell
it's
you.
like, dude, is something resonating here for you? What I'm saying right
I
now?
believe. Maybe it's the neighborhood. I mean, listen, this area feels very like Indian-y, like maybe
It does.
Indian
It does.
grounds
Well,
or
it's
something.
it's next to some.
It's next to Signal Hill.
Yeah, Signal Hill, and you got
naturey
you have
areas.
these marshlands,
Right.
and you have these areas where indigenous populations could be sustained because there's the right flow of nutrients and
Mhm.
growing things and resources and foods and things like that. The point being, yes, you're right.
Dude,
Yeah.
that house, so many things happen in that house. Over the course of my time living there, I had not in the middle of the night, even like starting to go to sleep. Okay, I'm just gonna say this before I go into these little details. I'm gonna say that the single craziest thing that ever happened to me was before me seeing waking up and just kind of seeing like somebody standing next to my bed. I wasn't even asleep. It'd always be like right when I was starting to fall asleep, and I would just kind of like get this weird feeling, and I'd open my eyes, and boom, there's there's a face just there, and I'd be like, oh shit, in the dark, like punching at it, and it would just disappear or dissolve or whatever. I swear, I mean that happened maybe 50 times in the guest room. One was so vivid. One night I was sleeping in the guest room, and I did that. I kind of opened my eyes, and there was a child in white pajamas standing next to the bed, and I was like, hey honey, I started talking to her because I thought it was my daughter, and I was like, oh shit, those pajamas. And the second I thought that, I mean, it literally just kind of like dissolved so slowly that it was like it flickered away at the end, the last little, particles of whatever I was looking at. And once again, I get up and I run into the other room like, oh shit. I mean, I have all this stuff and I'm really interested in the paranormal at this point in my life, but I'm, of course you're terrified when you see shit.
Yeah.
But, of course I run in and my ex-wife is always awake in the middle of the night. She's like, what did you see? And I was like, oh, nothing. I thought it was on. But anyway, I told her about it. And we had weird shit happen all the time. I mean, there was one weekend where she always she lost everything. But she lost her keys, on a Friday night. And she couldn't find her keys. So we turned the house upside down the entire weekend. I mean, literally turned it upside down. Couldn't find them. Monday morning, I wake up, early to go to work. It's like, 6 o'clock in the morning. And I'm getting ready to go to work. And right in the middle of the couch cushion, I mean, her keys are just there, right in the middle of the couch cushion. And I just was like, oh, fuck. And I went in. I woke her up. And I'm like, check this out. And I walked her in. And she, like, literally started crying. And she's like, do you think there's somebody in the house? I mean, it was that, like, blatantly, like, right there, just to, kind of mess with us.
I think I picked the perfect background for this podcast. I swear to God. Here, let me finish.
I see this.
Dude, I mean, just look at the shit that's going on here. It's like this. It's this metaphysical energy going on, and it's like how we, try to exist in this physical world, and it's perfect.
It looks great.
Yeah, that's it. The knocking.
The knocking.
I'm getting to it, Dave. She knows.
Okay.
I'm getting to it. I'm building up to it. That house. I don't know. It just had something. It had something. I swear it was almost like a vortex in the house. There's something. I don't know. What do they call it? A vortex where like energy. I don't know. I don't know what they call it.
A center of
like
concentration of energy.
Yes. I mean it was
A hub.
Hang on. Let me move that way so we can hear you. There you go.
The crazy thing is, I mean, with all of that, listen. I'll tell you something. I'm going to tell you real quick because we're in the house. So I'm just going to tell you that thing that I've been waiting to tell you. When I was in this house, at one point, I got involved with the paranormal group. Like I thought, oh, it'd be cool. I met these people. And they're like, yeah, we go investigate, like places in the Queen Mary and certain places where you can't normally go. And I was like, all right, cool, sounds cool. I'll go with you. They're a bunch of nerds. I mean, they were a bunch of nerds.
Been there, done that without them.
They were not only a bunch of nerds, but they were so like uppity and not really friendly. And
yeah, they're like, well, I'll have you know.
Yes.
That this particular ghost only shows up at this time.
Yes.
So why are we wasting our time talking about it?
Right.
Okay, take it easy, buddy.
Exactly.
Yep, get a little too geeked out on the thing.
So I started getting into the stuff a little bit. We went and did some investigations. I've caught everybody catches orbs on digital camera. I mean, I've caught many like orb videos where, I mean, it's interesting to look at the way they fly around, almost on command.
I want to look at them.
You never seen him?
Pull some up.
Okay.
While Christian is talking, you're gonna pull some up.
Yes.
Continue, Christian, please.
Okay.
Well, Jaime works in the background.
Listen, all right, this story I'm going to tell you right now, once again, I don't have any picture proof of this, okay? I mean, so I don't know. If you don't want me to tell it, I don't have to tell it. But just...
Do you want to tell it?
Listen,
Christian, do you want to tell it?
I don't have to, but let me just say this.
I think you want to tell it. I think you should tell it.
I'll swear on anything that this is the truth. I'll swear on my
Here's
life.
my Bible.
Wait, well, we have stories too. We don't have any stories.
Okay.
I know, right?
So I was getting involved with this paranormal group, and because I got all involved, I like doing research on tools that they use to go out and investigate and all this different stuff. So I bought this thing called an infrared projector, and what it is if you have say you have a Sony Handycam, like a night shot cam, and it has night shot mode. And what night shot mode is, it has this video mode that records in infrared. And for it to record in infrared, you have to have infrared light, like shining out. And so at the bottom of the video camera, there's a little bulb. It's probably a 0.5 watt bulb. And it casts light like a few feet out. So you can see in pitch black, but a few feet in front of you. I bought an infrared projector. It was a 50 watt bulb. So I literally, my house is giant. I mean, inside. It was like the living room was like 20 by 16. I mean, and there were French doors throughout the whole house. So I basically could open my French doors and look through from the living room to the dining room to the kitchen. It was like 40 feet away. So, you know, I'm like messing around with the infrared projector at night in pitch black. My wife at the time was there. I'm sure my daughter wasn't in the house when I was doing that. Who knows? I don't know. Probably not. But so I'm, you know, taking video and snapping pictures. I didn't really see much with the infrared projector, but I turned the lights back on. Everything was, you know, back to normal. But around that time, I kind of learned. This is when I first started to learn that if I had this thing, right, inside. I feel like if I open myself up, then I mean it'll invite.
Yeah,
like,
you have a connection
shit
to
yes.
the transition zone. I call it.
I can open myself up and it just invites stuff in. So
this background is perfect for this talk right now. Fucking perfect.
Dude, I was doing that and I just took this stupid like Casio, you know, one of those little digital cameras back in the day. I don't know what year it was. You know, late 90s maybe? Yeah, no, it had to be 2005, 2006, something like that. So I'm like just snapping random pictures, taking pictures from the living room into the kitchen, and I'm doing that thing where I kind of open myself up. Later on, listen, this is the part. This is the thing. Later on, we were looking through the pictures, and I caught a series of about 6 pictures. And dude, I swear to God, it sounds great. I don't even want to say it because you guys are going to think I'm
God damn you! God
all right,
damn it!
I caught.
Are you a Christian or not Christian?
I am.
Okay.
Listen.
Yet you're attracting demons, Christian. What's the story,
Right, Eric,
Christian?
shut up, Eric.
Okay, here we go.
So
shut up, George.
I caught a series of about 6 pictures.
Okay.
And let's just say the reason I want to explain. Say the first picture had nothing. The second picture had like a little bit of mist in the kitchen from the living room. You could see it. The third picture had the makings of some kind of shape. And the middle picture, dude, I'm just saying, the middle picture had 3 figures standing in my kitchen. And they were so clear as a bell. I mean, so clear as a bell, they were not one. Okay, look, I can't vouch exactly what the other 2 look like, but one of them, it had like a horse or a moose's head, and there were these 2 bulbous eyes on the outside of it, and they were standing upright. There were 3 figures, and they were like steel gray. You could not see through them at that point. And then the other picture, second one, you could see through, and the other one, they were like gone.
Do you have those pictures still?
I don't. That's why I don't want to tell you
Damn
those
it.
pictures. Listen, it's a long story.
I want the pictures.
It's a long story. Eric.
It's a long story.
All right.
Because listen, I had these pictures on my computer, and it was a Toshiba satellite laptop. It was a
Damn you,
big
Toshiba.
laptop.
They failed, didn't they?
That computer took a shit. And I had the pictures on either a CD or hard copy, but once my computer took a shit and I went desperately rifling through every picture I ever had in my entire life, I could never find the pictures. My daughter has looked for them. I didn't even get all my pictures in the divorce. And I've had my daughter look for them in Pennsylvania. She lives in Pennsylvania now.
Well, do you have some of these orbs, George? Did you find any?
I did.
Let's take a look.
So, let's see. We usually call them like white orbs.
YouTube, relax. It's your ad within an ad within an ad. Okay, so there you go.
Okay, like that. Is that a little white dot?
Did it look like
could,
that?
Could be a buzz.
Is that?
Yeah, I
Could
mean
be,
that could be. Yeah, I mean that is. I've caught many of those on video.
Can you turn it sideways? See what happens. There we go. Oh, baby. Get jiggy.
I feel like something's gonna pop out.
Like that car commercial where a ghost pops or a ghoul pops out at the end.
Well, just this guy talking about it. Well, you saw what it looked like.
Blah,
You
blah,
got the
blah,
gist of
blah,
it.
blah.
Pat Oswalt.
Okay. Whatever.
So, listen, these things that were standing in my kitchen, it was terrifying. I mean, it was terrifying from the fact that like holy shit, like there were these things that were in my kitchen, and my wife at the time, of course, was like, holy fuck, like she was scared. I mean, she was like, this is terrifying. I mean, you know, for all the weird stuff that ever happened in that house, though, I was never really scared. I never got any negativity from it. I never felt scared to come home. If I go to my mom's house this day, I'm like, I like run out.
Do I really have to come home, Mom?
Yeah, dude, she always has me feed her cat when they go on vacation, and I go in, and the second I'm done feeding the cat, I'm like turn the lights out. I like run for the door like a terrified kid, like I used to.
Is this the house you grew up in?
Yeah.
Your mom's house?
Yeah.
Okay, so is there maybe some like weird stuff that happened in that house that's not paranormal
So
that maybe makes you feel a little bit?
And have your kids been there? Have they experienced anything?
My daughter has.
Okay, all right,
listen,
cool. So you got validation.
Taylor's here. Okay, so Taylor is my guitar player Kenny's daughter. She's like my second kid. You know, she was the band baby. She used to sit on my lap in rehearsals. We'd stuff earplugs in her ears. She and Kenny used to go over there and babysit my mom's cats. And Taylor can comment, dude. It has whispered in her ear while she was there before. Yes.
You know, I always play devil's advocate, but I got to ask you a question. Okay, so you're a Christian, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so Christians, in my mind, have a very narrow bandwidth of what things are spiritually. Those are their demons.
Mm-hmm.
It's one or the other. There's no in between. Do you believe that?
No, I don't. Listen, and when I say I'm a Christian, I'm not like I don't go
Not
to
like
church.
a literal.
I would never. I don't.
By the.
Dude, you're not
Okay.
gonna catch me at church. I'm not into that.
Okay, all right. Just want to validate kind of like where your depth of perception is, because aperture is a big deal to me when it comes to talking about spirituality. I want to see, you know, what's your depth of field with the whole thing.
I believe in everything. I believe anything's possible. I mean, look. I was trying to explain it to George. I never called myself a Christian before any of this stuff happened. You know, I always said, oh, you know, there's no way, you know, Jesus, you know, how can someone, you know, come back from the dead in 3 days? You know, all that stuff. So I always kind of resisted all that. The reason I call myself a Christian now is because of one thing. It happened because of one thing, and it's all I'm going to tell you in the story coming up. But the reason is, if you invoke the name of Jesus Christ, spirits take a hike. I mean, they do.
So there's something about the name, something about the embodiment of that person, that spirit, that is it's a cleansing,
Maybe it's because people believe in it so
wholesome
much.
spirit.
Listen,
Right?
yeah, okay. So it could either be because you believe in it so much and your conviction. They always say, you know, if you hold up a cross to a vampire, if you don't believe in it, it doesn't work. I mean, I always looked at it like this way. Either spiritually, you know, Jesus Christ is a powerful thing to invoke, you know, against evil spirits or whatever, and it takes off. Or I always said, also thinking about it, you know, maybe spirits are the spirits of human beings, and maybe they were Christians, or maybe they were not, you know, but they believed in Jesus, or, you know, you invoking the name of Jesus is powerful, regardless.
And I got something. I'm going to take it a step further, and this is the depth of field. So, you know, names are just words, and words are just letters, and letters are just this, that, and the other.
Right.
You know, what if we're talking about energies, and energies are, you know, really the core behind it.
Well, energy
does the name really matter?
No, you're probably right. Well, that's part of conviction. I mean, you know, believing and sending out that energy. I mean, it's probably. I mean, I agree with you. I agree with that too. I mean, praying out loud is different than praying in your head, and praying in your head is sending out energy.
Of course.
And I find, you know what? Okay, so let me move on. I got a divorce, and I ended up moving into this house in Long Beach on Marber Avenue. It's near Studebaker and Willow and Los Coyotes and all that different stuff. Or not Studebaker. Los Coyotes and Willow and Bellflower. It's like right in that little area, the Plaza area of Long Beach.
Mm-hmm.
And Taylor mentioned Knox. Okay, so we move into this house, and my daughter is like 12 or 13 at the time, and she's living with my current girlfriend and I. And you know, everything's fine. You know, it's a crappy house. I mean, it's, you know, it's a nice house on the surface, but it's a piece of shit house. Electrical's all garbage, and it's just a.
So it didn't come out well in the divorce.
I didn't like the house. No, I was just trying to get by, dude. I just wanted out. But so here's the deal. My girlfriend and I say we go out to dinner, say we go out to dinner or to the movies or something, and we'd, tell my daughter, hey, we're gonna go out, for an hour or so. Is that cool? Yeah, that's cool. So we go out. Next thing you know, I'm getting a text like, Dad, or she'd call me, Dad, I'm scared. Like somebody's banging on my window. And I was like, holy fuck, you like run out the front door, because her bedroom was kind of in the backyard, okay? So I'm like, do me a favor, just run out the front door and run to the damn neighbor's house and knock on the door. Like, I want you to be safe. Like, get the fuck out of the house. And so she did that. She ran out of the house, she went to the neighbor's house, and we raced home. And we're looking around, and we couldn't see any evidence that, anyone had, gotten into the backyard as far as you could tell. And so this happened a couple of times. I mean, it happened a couple of times. We'd be out certain places. Oh, it happened so much that Taylor's dad, Ken, he's an electrician. He came over and he installed motion lights around the backyard, in the whole backyard. Okay. And dude, it got to the point. I got pictures. We fucking bought this giant guard dog. I mean, it was like a big. It was the meanest, biggest looking fucking pit bull giant dog you've ever seen.
One of those over-the-top dogs,
Oh,
all muscle and no brains.
Yeah, dude, it was terrifying, and it almost ate my min pin.
Wait, almost ate your what?
It almost ate my min pin, Spike. He was the sweetest little dog in the world.
Anybody need a drink or anything?
No, I'm fine.
Oh yeah, I'll take a little more whiskey.
Okay, here, help us.
So when you say, to be safe, do you think these spirits can cause physical harm?
You want ice?
Have they ever caused physical harm on you or anybody you know?
No.
No, they psychologically torment.
No. Oh, okay. Well, you see, at the time in that house that I'm talking about, I thought it was somebody breaking in from the outside.
Oh, okay.
And I'm still at this point we're thinking that.
Yeah.
We got a guard dog, we got motion lights, until one night, my girlfriend and I are out. And my daughter calls me and she's like, all right, Dad, this is fucked up. She's like, now things are flying off my dresser. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Poltergeist.
Now we got something different. So this had been going on for like a full month or so. So what I did was I told everybody, I go, I want to come home alone to the house tomorrow after work. And so I made sure my girlfriend and my daughter were out of the house or wherever after school. And I came home. And I did that thing that I do where I open myself up and I, have my phone on. I started videoing and I was walking through my daughter's room. And I was like, all right, here I am, you want to show me something, And sure as fuck, I mean, the second I said that, I caught, one of the most impressive videos of like an orb just going, whoop, like right in front of the camera and dancing around. And I was like, all right, there's something, something's here, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So that was... instantly right there on video, I saw it, and I was like, all right, well, that's it. And I must have bought sage on the way home too, to be honest, because I must have bought a sage bundle because I remember that night, right as soon as I saw that, I was like, all right, fuck it. And I kind of did some research, and I was like, I'm gonna perform a cleansing ritual. So I started burning sage, and I started doing, what I read to do like a cleansing ritual, and I was like, all right. Fuck. I went through the whole house and I, did it what I thought was right and everything. And so I told everybody, okay, come home. And, everybody came home and I was like, all right, cool, everything's done. No, it got way worse.
You didn't do your metaphysical, this whole thing here. You didn't,
dude, I don't know enough about it. I mean, I honestly
do what comes naturally, man.
I honestly don't know enough about it. I thought it was
you don't have to
good.
be an expert. You just have to feel it because you're already in tune. You're already awake. You're already
right.
aligned, and you just need to open up and channel the right energies. And Guy talks about that every time he comes in here.
Mm-hmm.
About the energies you channel.
I tried. I mean, I don't know. I guess I'm not that powerful in those ways. I mean, I always walk through life thinking I have a strong soul. I'm not. Why should I be afraid of any kind of spirit? Like my soul would whip your soul's ass in the afterlife. I mean, that's the way I always think about it. But I'm like a fighter in real life, or the way I look at myself or I think of myself. So, but whatever. So, it didn't work. I mean, it got to the point where like the very next day. Now, my girlfriend and I are sitting on the couch and we're watching TV, and I wish you had a window right nearby, because right next to my head, knock, knock, like dunk, dunk, right on the window right next to me. And we were like, holy shit. And we looked at each other and we go, oh, that must be what she's talking about. And it was daily. I mean, every day some crazy shit was happening. Like one time we're sitting on the couch, my girlfriend and I, and it sounded like somebody rolled marbles across the floor right in front of us, all the way across the floor. I mean, it was so loud. It was like, holy shit, what is that? I mean, it was knocks my. Oh, okay. I'll just by saying. You remember how we were talking? What was that term that we were using? I don't know. Sleep paralysis. I used to get sleep paralysis in the old house that I lived in. Dude, I got it all the time. I never got sleep paralysis once I left the house. But my girlfriend got sleep paralysis in that new house with all the knocks. I mean, one time she was trying to wake up. The way it works for her, or the way it worked for me, was you wake up, but you can't open your eyes. And you're like inside, and you're like, fuck, like I want to wake up, but I can't. But she said she heard these males come into the room, and they were talking and having a conversation around her until she finally opened her eyes, or finally could wake up. So that kind of stuff was happening. Okay. In my daughter's room, knocks would just go on the walls. Wherever we'd go, knock, 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 knock. We'd be sitting there having a conversation. I mean, at one end of the room, knock, knock on the wall. Next to the mirror would knock. I mean, it would just do it all the time. It was getting so bad that we could barely have a conversation. I mean, we literally couldn't have a conversation without it just knocking right next to us.
That's not like.
It got pretty bad. It finally.
Do you feel like maybe you're traveling with these circles of negative energies, like, or maybe you're just following them around because there's something inside of you that's unresolved, that is following these paths from one place to the next, to the next, to the next with these negative energies?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Maybe something to look at.
Listen, I don't have any problems anymore.
Okay, so you did something to get rid of it. What was that magic something? What was that final awakening, that realization that brought you out of that cycle of following these negative energies?
I do not let it into my life. I make it. I vocalize it outside. I vocalize it. You're not coming into my life. I think it inside. I pray all the time. I pray the Lord's Prayer all the time. If I ever feel something around, I pray the Lord's Prayer. I pray the prayer of Saint Michael. That's the most powerful prayer you can ever say, ever, to ward off spirits or evil.
Yeah, there's some great little pieces of wisdom, some nuggets of intense wisdom.
It's like,
in the Bible.
And you have your tattoos.
It's like spiritual ammunition. Yeah, absolutely. I was showing him. I have a couple tattoos, dude. I have spiritual tattoos. Well, this one's gonna be a Buddha, all
Hang
the
on,
way down.
the camera's right there, so if you want to get that in there.
Let's see here.
Oh, here, I'll hold you down.
Let's see. This is a Buddha. The whole arm is a Buddha.
Love
with
it.
Lotus flowers. It's half done.
Look at that green.
This
Great.
This is a gargoyle, and gargoyles ward off demons.
Right.
And then I have Saint Michael the Archangel all the way on my forearm down here.
Was the gargoyle a cover-up tattoo?
Very nice.
Yeah, it was. I mean, a little bit, yeah. Yeah, you used to have one of my first bands tattooed with the band name.
Yeah, where's your tattoo, Eric? Tribal Savior?
Nah, man. It just wasn't the thing for me at that time to do that tattoo. It just wasn't. I don't know why. But I did get a tribal tattoo that was kind of like Maori and South Pacific inspired on my left arm to kind of symbolize that, because I had 3 Filipinos in the band. So.
Dude, I trained with a Maori guy. He's Maori.
Like actual Maori.
Yes. Like 100% Maori blood.
Yeah. So it's this guy right here. I don't know if you know it, but this guy, he's partial Maori.
Are you Maori?
No, I'm not.
Okay, do you want to hear my story in this? This is a good one.
Yeah.
Okay, so there was some I believe there was some hollowed out canoes that made it across from the South Pacific to the coast of Central and South America.
There's proof of that.
Okay, so there's proof of that. Okay, so if you look at this guy and his nose and his facial structure, he's kind of got that I don't know if it's Samoan or New Zealander or whatever.
Dude, I could
But
see Maori.
the weird thing
And tell the rest.
is...
Come on.
The weird thing, I was... fate led me to meet this
Cue in the drums.
I found a random phone somewhere laying around on the street, and I picked it up, and I called the number, and I'm like, hey, I found your phone. Come and get it. I'll meet you somewhere. I met this guy, and this dude grew up in in Samoa. Moved to the United States. Was adopted. His name was Alfonso, and he was like a 40-some-year-old. He was like 6'4", tall dude, really fucking built naturally, and I learned a lot from that guy. He was like my second dad, and we
I met their
started.
dad.
We started a t-shirt company, and it was called Tautiki. And it was Maori based art
Nice.
and with a modern take to it.
Nice.
And we got so popular that we started being invited to the Polynesian festival down in San Diego, and we went there multiple times. And we just people flocked to our stuff because we brought something fresh. And,
Dude, that's super
we
cool.
took and he was an amazing artist, but just both of us alone, drawn by fate because of a cell phone, and we were killing it. But then
Because of a
stuff
South
happened.
Pacific connection.
Yeah, a South Pacific.
So what
It's
is
in your
your
blood,
What is
baby.
your nationality?
Well, I'm Mexican.
Oh,
but
Mexican.
I mean, I'm sure I have a little bit of everything because I have red hairs too.
Absolutely.
I mean,
He's got a South Pacific Islander
yeah,
in him.
I
Look
got
at this
some
guy.
Spaniard in me.
This dude looks South Pacific
I
Islander.
mean, I'm not totally dark brown. I'm pretty light. Look at this.
Yeah, you're a
I
good
don't look
mix.
Guatemalan.
I always ask girls, "Hey, do you have any Norwegian in you?" No. You want some?
Yeah, right. Hey, you want a little Jew in you?
I see Joaquin. Joaquin wrote something. Christian, I think the spirit possessed Missy that night she jumped in the fire. Dude, that was a party. That was a party at my house. It was a huge Halloween party. We had like 100 people there that night, and his wife was partying really hard, and he got pissed and ended up jumping over the fire and like trying to punch somebody. But
Sounds like a good time.
Oh, you know what? Joaquin had asked. Talk about how I got you couch locked in the living room.
oh Jesus Christ!
So here's
Joaquin,
Christian
that's-
getting a sleep paralysis on his couch, and like
No, this
there's
was
a
not
demon
sleep
sitting on his
paralysis.
ass.
This was a, hey buddy, will you clear my bong for me?
Yeah.
Joaquin, I'm going to save that story for if we come on together.
Oh,
Yeah.
you will. Yeah, you will.
All right, man.
We planned it.
So the knocks in my daughter's room got so bad, and all the knocks always were like knock knock. There were always two, okay? But one night she and I were sitting there talking, and keep my daughter's like 15 or so at the time, and dude, you know how protective of your kids you are.
Of course.
And I feel I'm starting to get really like irritated with this shit. I mean, this is my daughter's room, and it's like she tells me that at night, she just sticks her headphones in because she can't fucking sleep because the knocks are like loud. And I'm like, all right, this is starting to irritate me. And then so one night we're having a conversation in a room, and I realize the entire time we're talking, it's just going knock 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 right on the wall right next to us.
It's not doing the knock knock who's there. It's like over and over.
Yeah, it's just over and over. And I'm like, are you hearing this? And she goes, yeah, it's been doing it the whole time we're talking. And the only thing is now the knocks start going to do 3 knocks. And listen, I mean, I'm not some paranormal expert, but I've watched a lot of like ghost shows in my life. And the number 3 freaks me out a little bit. I mean, they always say like, 3 scratches is like a mocking of the
Dude,
Holy
that's supposed
Trinity.
to, that's the
and all
Holy
that stuff.
Trinity, right?
So when I heard 3 knocks and all, I don't know what it was, but I was just like, that was it. I'm done. That's it. I go, I'm going to sleep next to you tonight. And so basically, I laid in bed with her all night long, and I just kind of had my arms over. I freaked out a little bit, and I started feeling really protective and fucking pissed off. I mean, you ever get pissed off at like a ghost or I don't know what's going on, but I was pissed. So you know what I was doing? I was praying, saying the Lord's Prayer all night long. And the second I started praying, the knock stopped. Okay, and I'm praying in my head, and dude, this is a true story. Here you go. So I'm praying all night long. I'm just having my arms over, and I couldn't really sleep very well, but I still had to get up for work really early. I don't know, like 6 o'clock to go to work, or 5:30, or whatever the hell time it was. And at about 4:30, I look over at my phone, and I see, it's 4:30, and I'm like, oh shit, I gotta get up in like an hour. So I was like, all right, cool, everything seems cool. So I'm gonna get up and go back to my own room and get a good solid hour's sleep. The second I stood up, right on the wall, right next to my head, knock knock, I was like, fuck you, that's it, dude. So I have this Uncle Barry. And Uncle Barry is the most spiritual person I've ever met in my entire life. I mean, ever since I was a little kid, you know, he always like blesses me, and he's like he's part psychic. We're not blood relatives, by the way. But
He's like the Mexican grandmother that always has to bless you before you go
Dude.
anywhere.
he blessed me before I came here tonight. I went over to his house on purpose because I was going to be talking about this shit.
If you wanted blessings, you could have just asked us. We are very holy people.
Are you?
Oh, dude. George and I have mucho metaphysical energy.
Oh, I believe it.
Super mucho. I mean,
Really?
look over
Did
here.
you say really?
Okay. I'll take your word for it,
He
Eric.
said really.
You know,
I just go
we
with
have
the flow here.
balance. We have that. That's George's piece right there.
Okay.
We
I
can
don't
help
even know
you.
what the hell that is. It's just
We can help you. I know what it is, and
I
that's all
know.
that matters.
Continue, please.
So I called my Uncle Barry the next day, and I'm like, dude, you gotta help me out. You know, I need some help. Like I tried to cleanse his house, and it didn't work. And the reason I called him was because I know the house that he lives in now. When he first moved in, it was really haunted, like really haunted to the point where like you know cabinets were slamming and shit. And he did his thing, and it took off. So you know, he came over, and he brought this. His whole house looks like ancient relics, like Catholic relics. He's super duper Catholic. I mean, I don't know, like he's very Catholic. He's been trying to get me to get baptized forever and ever. You know what I mean? So he brings over this ancient crucifix and some holy water, and he does his thing. He like takes the holy water and rubs it on every doorway, around the doorway, and reads the old prayer of Saint Michael throughout the whole house, probably in Latin. You know, and he's blessing the whole house, everything. I don't think we used sage, but let me tell you, that was it. Nothing else. Not a peep, not a knock, not nothing ever again in the house.
Nice.
Never. Gone. But according to Uncle Barry, and I gotta be honest, he told me he was sick for like a year after that. And
Wow, maybe he absorbed the spirit as a sacrifice.
dude, it might be true because I gotta be honest. He's had a lot of health problems. I mean, I don't know. I'm not gonna say it's just from that, but he has had health problems. When I don't remember him having a bunch of health problems before that. But anyway, I'm not gonna say it was all from that. But he claims he was sick for a year after that. I mean, it was legit. That was some scary shit. And you know, there's another thing. I don't know. It had to have been before all that happened. But there was a night where I was sleeping in that house in the bedroom with my girlfriend. And in the middle of the night, like I roll over to look at my phone, to see what time it is. And the second, I lay back down, the TV just comes on. And I'm like, fuck, that's annoying. So I turned the TV off. And it did it a few nights in a row. And like one night, it did that. Of course it does it the second I'm kind of awake and I'm, checking my phone, and it turns it on. And one night, my girlfriend goes, "Did you just turn the TV on?" She was like half asleep. And I go, no.
I want to give you some advice. Watch our podcast with Guy.
Okay.
The reason why is because Guy really does a lot of deep rabbit hole research, but there's something that he said, and he's maybe like 12, 15 years older than us, but he's like, dude, it's about energies and which energies you want to attract in your life.
I agree with that.
It doesn't matter what philosophy or religion you believe in. It's about the energy that you want to attract in your life, and you have to make a conscious decision. This is the energy I want to attract.
I do agree with
that. So kind of like this little background we got going on here. This is a symbolic representation of energies, and you have the power. You have the power in you, 100%.
With great power comes great responsibility.
And with great power comes, yes, of course it does. So,
I do agree with that.
So,
imagine if we had all our spiritual guests together in one podcast.
Dude, we
Maybe
could
one day
levitate the house off the side of the
mics, 3 cameras,
right?
One day,
totally,
dude.
But that's an important. Check out Guy's things. He talks about some deep, scary shit. But the point being is, we all know that energy's out there. We all know the negative energies out there. We all know that the traumatizing, haunted energies and spirits from horrible pasts. I mean, just look at humankind and its history. It's horrifying what human beings will do to each other. But there's good energy out there too. It's not just all bad energy. And we have to make a choice at some point. It's like, how much good energy am I going to allow in my life? And not just be trapped all the time. And you're a strong person. You are. You look at you. You're what, 50, 51?
50 years.
It doesn't matter.
Just turned 50.
The point being is you've lived half a century. How many motherfuckers can say they've lived half a century and they still got arms like this and they're fucking ready to
Doing
fucking
jujitsu.
fucking pound some fucking shit in.
Damn. I gotta get my black belt this year.
Damn, bro. You just need to take all that you
Kick a fucking bam.
and fucking put it
Out of
into
my
your
life.
energy and believe it and radiate like this. Radiate like this.
Dude,
whole thing.
That is what I do every day. I believe what you say, and I'm gonna.
And tell that to everybody who's listening who feels lost.
No, it's totally true. I mean, it's all about positivity. You gotta, have a positive attitude. I meditate. I'm into Zen every day, and I only think positive things. I don't allow negativity in my life. And your brain is like your appetite. You're like your diet. I mean, have you heard people say that? Like if you're watching garbage all the time, it's almost like eating junk food. I mean,
Yeah, of course. You become what you surround yourself with.
right. I agree with that.
And I see it all the time. Like if I'm surrounded by a bunch of negative people or people, like I hate to say it, but sometimes at work, there's so much negativity there. It's like I start to get negative, and it's like, fuck, I don't want to be this person.
No.
I don't want to be like these motherfuckers that they're gremlins consuming all this negative energy. Maybe gremlin's not the right word, but you know what I mean. They're gargoyles. Excuse me, gargoyles.
Right.
Gremlins, gargoyles. Which are the ones that feed off of negative energy?
Gremlins.
Probably gremlins.
Gremlins. They're like gremlins.
Gargoyles protect.
Yeah, it's just they love it. So
I don't think Christian would want to,
Whatever. Gargoyles are scary looking.
don't
but I guess-
feed it
get
after midnight.
I guess that's why demons aren't into them.
Right. But the point is, there's so many great faiths and religions out there that show you paths to higher awareness
Absolutely.
and an awareness of spiritual growth and harmony, and it's there. All the wisdom's there.
Well,
It's in all those great books and writings.
yes. I want to know about
Jorge.
Japan. Are we there
I
yet?
know, totally.
Are we at Japan yet?
No, not even.
Let me mention Japan real quick now.
Please.
Okay, so I was an exchange student in Japan when I was 13. It was 1984, and that was the year of the Olympics in LA.
Yeah.
Probably before you
The
were
dollar
born.
went
Way
well.
before you were
The
born.
dollar went very
Oh, yeah.
far then.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
And Richard
dude,
Ramirez was around.
it was 300 yen to the dollar in Japan. Now it's like around 100, I guess. But anyhow, so I'm in
Same
Japan.
thing in Europe.
I did some crazy shit in Japan too. I mean, we were a bunch of kids, and all we did was spend all our money on samurai swords and shit. We were
Nice.
I'm not kidding.
Love it.
Dude, I spent $100 of my money. We went to the grocery store with my family. I stayed with the host family, and they don't really speak much English, and I don't speak any Japanese. And they take me to the grocery store, and I walk in, and like one whole aisle is fireworks, and I'm like, holy shit!
Dude, how rad is
I
that?
bought $100 worth of bottle rockets, like right there. They're like, holy shit, this crazy American.
I did that every time I went to
Did-
Switzerland. The exact same thing. It was like fireworks everywhere.
Holy shit!
Did you ever sleep with any Japanese?
Oh, dude. Listen.
Oh my god.
All right, listen. I got stories.
All the
I'll
people
tell
with-
you off
with
the
Asian
podcast.
fetishes.
I'll tell you off the podcast. I can't go into that story
Okay.
because I have some Japanese friends that I actually.
Sold underwear in the vending machines. that's
Dude,
now.
Yeah, when I was a little kid, I was 13, and I would go and I got these bondage magazines out of the vending machine.
No
And I was
kidding.
like, I had them in my little sleeping bag or whatever.
It's
I was, like,
it's a
carrying them around with
total
me.
male dominant
Oh,
society,
it was
right?
amazing.
Dude.
It was amazing.
Yeah, for a guy, you're just like, dude, this is paradise.
Dude,
I can drag my knuckles on the ground.
Too many crazy things happened in Japan when I was there. But all right, for instance, like I got bit by a snake when I was in Japan in the mountains. And what are the chances you get bit by a snake in a
Based
foreign
on all the
country?
stories that you've told me tonight, I'm gonna say it's highly likely that it would happen to
Well-
you. And I don't know why that is. You're radiating that. So
Here's how it worked.
the serpent came and got you. Go
Me
ahead.
and my friends were in the mountains, and I'm like, hey, let's go look for snakes. And we turned, and there was a snake on the ground.
Okay, what kind of snake? What are we talking about?
I don't know. I mean, I'm in Japan, so I reached down to try to grab it, and it goes, whoosh, and it bit me.
Uh-huh.
You
And
were
I-
13, right?
I was 13.
Okay, so you know
And-
what the fuck kind of snake
Yeah,
it is.
and here's what went through my head. Holy shit, I got bit by a snake in Japan. I better grab it and bring it to somebody who knows what kind of snake it is.
Well, that's actually good thinking.
So I did. I grabbed it and I brought it in, and all the like Japanese people were like, "Holy shit!" And they
Ah!
started sucking on my wound on my hand.
Okay, so you knew right away it was a venomous snake.
I don't know what it was, but put it
If
this
they're
way:
sucking on it, it's a
Dude,
venomous snake, dude.
if I died, they're gonna be falling on their swords. That's what was going through their head. You know what I mean? They don't, I don't want to dishonor anybody's family. You know what I mean?
Right? Yeah.
So,
Well,
but
hey, but that was free will right there. That's their choice,
yeah,
right?
yep.
Okay.
All right.
Well, there you go.
So we're in Japan, and me and this group of kids, there's like 6 or 8 of us. While we're actually, it's good that we're talking about the mountains, because during that weekend that we were in the mountains, we stayed in this old building. I mean, we were in the middle of the mountains in Japan, and I don't know where the hell we are, dude. I was 13, so I don't know. But I just know it was a giant old wooden building, and it looked fucking old. It could be 100 years old, 200 years old. I don't know, you know. We're in the middle of the forest. And we're having a sleepover in this building this night. I mean, I don't know what kind of building. Anyway, so at night, when it's time to go to bed, the group of us, the kids, we're all in this room. And it's in the, you know, kind of in the middle of the building. There's no windows out to the outside. It's pitch black outside anyway. It's the mountains. And we're in this room, and it's pitch black. And we're just talking. We're shooting the shit.
I feel a ghost story coming on.
Listen, I didn't know it was a ghost at the time, but looking back, I'm pretty sure it was a ghost. Okay? So check this out. So we're sitting there talking, and at one point in the conversation, a green glow starts at the, you know, by the ceiling and soars across the room. It was a green glow. And not only did I see it, but everybody was like, whoa. We all were like, whoa. You could hear multiple people saw it. We all saw it. We were like, holy shit. And I never thought about it ever again. I mean, until, you know, I got older and I started having ghostly experiences, and I was like, looking back, I'm like, that's a fucking ghost. We saw a ghost, and it was a green, it was a green light that went through the room.
Actually, you know, I was dating a Japanese girl when I was in college at Cal State Long Beach. Mia Takahashi. She told me some stories about some ghost stories. A lot of ghost stories from Japan,
Dude.
and a lot of it had to do with there were several incidences in Japan besides all the fighting, you know, and Japan has a
Dude,
longer history
Yes.
than we can even
yes.
frickin' touch as our Anglo-Saxon migrating to the States, and you know, even the, you know, like the Mexican stories, centuries older than us.
Right.
But anyway, she told some stories about these ghosts, and I think a lot of these contemporary ghost stories are spirits that came from one major event and then a few minor events. There was a lot of poisonings in Japan that
Really?
were part of their industrial revolution. Toxins in the water supply, because it's a very small island.
Okay.
So, you know, if you're not filling in the ocean, then it's in the land. If it's in the land, it's a small island, so everybody's getting poisoned. And then number 2 was the bombing of Hiroshima.
Oh, well, yeah, I'm sure. Holy
And all the bombing that happened over there with the nuclear bomb. I mean, do you know how many people died in those bombings?
I think 100,000.
It was so many people, and they didn't even know it was coming.
No.
They had no idea. So imagine all those people that were suspended animation, so to speak. These bombs being dropped on them, just leveling cities in less than a minute.
Unbelievable. They're a very spiritual society, too.
Yeah, so I could see where there's a lot of like energies floating around from that kind of unexpected mass
Death.
death. Yes, thank you.
And there's a lot of suicides. I mean, people commit seppuku. I mean, that's part of Japanese culture. I mean,
That's
I don't-
actually that's a traditional accepted. If you feel dishonored, or your family has been dishonored, or you do not want to dishonor your family, or whatever your main reasoning is, it's an honor. It's all about the honor system.
You know, samurais carry 2 swords. They carry the long one for battle, and then they carry the short one. The
For-
short one's the seppuku
yeah.
sword.
A friend of mine used to call it Sudoku. It's like, are you gonna commit Sudoku?
Oh my god, that's hilarious. Oh my god.
Let me write the letters right first. Oh, that's
Yeah,
great.
the samurai used to carry that, 2 swords.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I love the whole Shinto samurai way of seeing the world, especially the Shinto. The Shinto believe that everything is living.
I love that.
Every molecule is alive with
It's like
some
the
kind
Native
of energy.
Americans.
Yes, very close.
Similarities.
And I just really like that that harmony with understanding that existence.
I really like Japan. I had some incredible experiences. I mean, I went back 25 years later and I stayed with my same host family from before. It was one of the most intense experiences I've ever had in my life.
Sure.
I mean, I slept in the same bed that I did when I was a kid. I wore the same slippers. It was so intense that I literally it was making me sick to my stomach. It was crazy.
Everything that's that whole mindset of everything is living, so it is still alive.
Right.
And you don't gather too much stuff because everything is living. And how do you keep all these things alive? You know, how do you? It like you look at us around here. I mean, you go to fucking Walmart, Target, fucking anywhere, any super mega Lopolis big corporate store, and you can buy anything you want to give you the illusion that you have wealth, and it's all just a bunch of shit.
Right.
But in traditional Japanese society, the Shinto, everything is alive. So why would you invite all of this stuff into your home? So much stuff. It has to be maintained.
Right.
It's alive. It has to be. You know, it has a meaning and a purpose. Everything has a meaning.
Did they call you Christian son?
A Christian son? Yeah.
Christian
yeah.
son.
Christian son?
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, they did. Oh, dude, when I was in Japan, it was 1984. We got to meet the mayor of Tokyo. We actually breakdanced in the office of the mayor of Tokyo, overlooking the city of Tokyo. I could barely dance, but I mean, like some of the dudes could breakdance, and I acted like I could too. But he had some like 19-year-old hot blonde secretary, and I was like all into her. Like we were taking pictures together. I was 13, you know. But we did all kinds of crazy stuff. I mean, traveling all over Japan.
You're like asking her, "Are you in those bondage magazines?"
Yeah.
If you are, which vending machine do I go to?
I know,
Oh my
exactly.
god. Oh my god.
Oh.
Man, I can't wait to hear the stories.
I know.
I want to know. I haven't been to Japan, and I've been dying to go, but now I'm taking.
Oh man, it's incredible, dude. I mean, everything in Japan just makes sense. I mean, you know, from the toilets, you're just like, what the hell? I mean, toilet seats, they have a temperature gauge. You know?
Yeah.
Well,
And they're low to the ground, so it's almost like a natural squat.
Shishi Japan.
Dude.
Shishi Japan, right?
Dude, when I went to Japan in 1984, the bathrooms I saw, they had a hole on the floor. I didn't know what the hell. I was like, how do you take a shit in that thing?
Oh, dude, I was in northern Italy in the Mediterranean, and hanging out with some friends of mine who came overseas with me, and we were camping somewhere. And the bathrooms that were in this small, you know, Mediterranean village, there was a big latrine and these big like water closets, they would call them, you know, like the containers with the water and the tube coming out of it. It's like, okay, where's the toilet paper?
Oh,
Oh,
yeah, I don't
got
know.
it.
I don't know if I could do that.
Got it. You had to squat and poop in this trough, and then there was these tubes coming out of these water closets, if you will,
Ugh.
and you basically just, you know, fresh wiped your butt with
Oh,
water.
Oh, God.
Like a bidet.
Like a bidet, yeah, exactly.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so
Yeah, I guess bidets are hit right now.
are they becoming popular again?
They suck.
I don't
I installed one in my ex's house and I used it, and I'm like, why the fuck would anybody use this? Like,
Dude.
they say, oh, you don't have to use toilet paper, but you do, because now you have to dry your ass.
Oh, God.
And then it's like, and everything's splashing around.
It just
You
doesn't
know,
seem
and-
very sanitary.
That's
when you're
probably better pulled off in your
drunk,
own home.
and then when you're drunk and you're like not in control of your movements and you accidentally hit the high pressure and you're like, oh,
Can you imagine?
hello,
Oh,
That's disgusting.
is that you, spirit from last night?
Here's a reach around. Here's your father.
Can you imagine using somebody else's bidet? That's gotta be disgusting.
Oh yeah.
You better clean your bidet before I come over, dude.
Oh, yeah.
So
And the instructions do tell you, please clean the day.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, bleach, please. Bleach.
Oh my god. Well, speaking of Japan, dude, I don't know. I guess I gotta bring this up. They have the weirdest porn. I'm just gonna mention it.
Everything's a matter of perspective, right?
Yeah.
And point of reference.
They have some weird stuff.
There's nothing wrong with gumballs and school outfits,
No,
I think.
no. I mean, they're interesting people. I'm gonna tell you right now. And they work hard and they party harder. I mean, at night when you go out to restaurants, everybody's getting wasted, enjoying life. I mean, they try to live in the moment when they're out of work, for sure.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. No, I love it. I've gotten to ride the bullet train. I've gotten to eat at Kobe Steakhouse with some white people who asked for ketchup from the chef after he gave them the Kobe steak. I couldn't believe it. Oh, it was so embarrassing.
You shall.
Did they
you
come
shall
after
commit
him with
Sudoku.
multiple lengths of knives? Yeah, right?
It's like, here's your short sword.
Here's your Sudoku.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Yeah, I thought they were going to stab him, for sure.
Don't upset the chef.
Oh,
Yeah, you
Word to the
You
wise.
must have been embarrassed.
it's
Yeah,
unbelievably
So
embarrassed.
I've hung out with some Hispanic Mexican people where they ask for like the stupidest shit like mayonnaise for their taco, and I'm like, bro, just fucking
Really?
other stuff. Like, you don't put mayonnaise in these fucking street tacos, you idiot.
No.
Like, I don't even fucking know you right now.
No.
Híjole!
No.
Like, Jesus, embarrassing.
Oh, okay. You know, one of the things that I did in Japan, it's going to sound stupid. Before I went to Japan when I was a kid, I was 13. So what are you thinking about when you're 13? It's pretty much the same thing I've always thought about my whole life.
Sex and
Yes!
blowing shit up.
I'm like, I'm going
There's
to Japan.
two things you think about: sex and blowing shit up.
Dude, there's going to
As
be...
a- as a male.
Yeah, exactly. I'm thinking there's all these like hot little Japanese girls. I'm going to like hook up with one. So before I went, I bought a Japanese to English dictionary, and I made like a list. You know, I like went and I translated my own stuff. And there was like, hey, how do you find the restroom? Or what, you know, how do I eat this? Or where do I, you know, little things like that. But on that list, I also wrote things like, I translated things like, hey, baby, you want to, you know, what's up? You know what I mean? Things like that. You want to hook up or you know, stuff like that. So we're on the bullet train and we're hanging out and these Japanese businessmen are on the bullet train. We end up talking to these Japanese businessmen. They could barely speak in English. I mean, we're kids. We're like, you know, 13 to 15 or whatever. You know, and I'm trying to talk to them and they're not getting it. So I'm like, check this out. You know what I mean? And
Did you draw a wiener?
Dude, they start looking at me.
Woo!
No, I was trying to say some of the stuff that you know, but they were looking at me like, "Holy shit, what is this guy writing down?"
Here's your short sword.
Oh
Yeah,
gosh.
right.
Oh, that was so embarrassing.
Oh my god, it's rad.
Oh,
But did they help you out? Did you?
I don't know.
No?
So thankfully, the train pulled up to stop, and we got to get off. All right. Or something weird happened.
You're just like looking down back at your paper. Like,
I'm like, oh,
I didn't
fuck.
say anything.
I forgot. Oh my god, that was one of the worst things ever.
Oh.
But
Yeah.
you should have had the sentence in there. Where's the party at? You know, and maybe they would have invited you.
Oh shit! Well,
Right?
Japanese people know how to party,
Yeah. Where's the party at?
Right?
Do this.
dude.
You're like, oh, let's go.
When I went back as an adult, that's a different story.
Ah, Caesar sing.
Fuck.
Did you ever see Showgirls? It's an old one, but anyway. Okay, never mind. Da-da-ts.
Yep.
I did.
Okay, so you know what I'm talking
I think I gotta go. Are you
Okay.
guys cool wrapping it up?
about. Totally,
oh, yeah.
man.
Well, can I ask those band questions?
Oh yeah, please.
I know,
I'm not,
dude.
I'm not trying to take off. I gotta get up at like 5:30 in the morning.
I know we
Oh,
got to
no
get
worries.
it too, so it's all
Okay.
good. We should start closing it up. But you know what? I know
Yeah,
we missed out on the
feel
whole
free.
band thing because all this other stuff just like
It's okay.
totally rocket and
Hey,
blossomed.
if you
and-
want to come back,
I gotta be honest. I felt. I mean, dude, you guys are the nicest people in the world, and I really appreciate you having me on. This is so fucking fun. Yeah, I kind of was. I'm happy that we talked about the paranormal stuff, and I talked less about the band because I feel a little guilty, like representing the band by myself because I'm not. I don't consider myself like the leader of the band. I mean, that's not what I want to do. I'm just, dude.
Okay, because
I
I
love writing.
advertise you that way, so now I feel bad.
No,
sorry,
no,
sorry,
dude, no,
man.
no,
Sorry,
no.
30 years
No,
gone.
no,
I
no.
just totally
No.
threw you under the
No,
bus
no,
for
you
my
didn't.
own selfish
No,
reasons.
listen, no, you didn't.
Okay,
Dude,
cool.
everybody in the band. This is me, my feelings.
Okay.
Everybody in the band is so thankful. We're all appreciative, and no one, I guess, no one else felt the way that I was. I was afraid they were going to be like, oh my god, Christian's trying to go on here and do this by himself and stuff. They didn't feel like that at all.
Okay.
They were so
Cool.
happy any way that you guys are. They just appreciate you mentioning our band and our music and stuff like that.
Good, man.
Dude, it's all our band is about positivity. That's what we do.
I love it.
We want to write music that everybody can sing along with and just put out a good vibe, and that's all we really
And
care
I love
about.
I love his chord structures, and his chords are awesome. Whoever's writing it, are you doing
It's
the
all of
chord?
us.
It's all of you
of us.
guys. You're all
Yeah.
working together.
But
Either way, I
dude,
love
a lot of
it.
these songs are the songs that we wrote back when we were like 16 years old. I mean, some of them are. So like Lonely,
it doesn't matter.
Lonely,
Good music is timeless, and
Right.
it doesn't matter how you augment it or add different chords and all that stuff. What matters is the feeling, the vibe, the structure of the song that takes you on a journey, and it doesn't matter. Some of the best songs are very good.
A lot of them are really good. I mean, and a lot of them are about heartache and things that really
Tangible.
matter.
It's tangible life stuff, and that's what I like about country music, and that's why I brought the country music
I
reference.
really appreciate
in that whole thing is country music is so about real life.
That's it.
Living with your family and
That's
dealing with
it,
family
dude.
and dealing with love and dealing with the intense feelings that we have as we struggle through life. It's not so surreal, and it's not so hyper focused on this one thing. It's like this is life, and we're all doing it together, and we all have family, and we try to honor our families, and we try to honor our lives, and
Absolutely.
all that.
Dude, that's where it's at. I mean, I appreciate you mentioning a country reference. I mean, because we're not straight country.
The musically, you're not. There's like influences of it. There's like little hits of it.
Yep.
But the content of your lyrics are very country.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, you heard American Dream. That's probably that would be the next video that we're gonna do.
Yeah. It's like God damn it, this happened again at home, and I'm just trying to be strong and get through it, and we're all trying to deal with the fact that we have negative energies that follow us.
Mm-hmm.
We have family cycles and negativities that follow us, and we're trying to be positive and break free from them and evolve and change and grow and break the cycles and all that stuff.
Yep.
It's good. What are your questions? You got a question?
No.
That was it?
Yeah, that's it.
Then
No, I can ask the questions about the band.
Yeah, ask the questions, dude.
You guys ready?
Yeah.
All
Let's
right,
go.
So I'm just gonna name off bands. They don't have to relate or be the same kind of genre or whatever. I'm just gonna say this or that.
Okay.
And I'm gonna go down the list. All right.
Okay. Am I gonna fail at this?
No, there's no feeling. I just want to get a. It's just like
it's
a poll.
it's just fun for the audience
Yeah.
and
Okay,
you
okay.
and everybody.
Yep. All right. Elton John or Bob Dylan?
For me, Elton John.
I agree with you.
Except for Bob Dylan's whiskey. I don't know. You kind of like you're steering me more towards Bob Dylan.
All right. Eric? Elton John or Bob Dylan? I can pick one. Jesus Christ. Oh my God. Okay. Pantera or Metallica?
Oh, fuck. All right, I gotta say Metallica, just because
Yeah.
Metallica's been just a big part of my life.
Yeah.
I love Pantera. Holy shit.
I know. Both.
All right.
God damn it.
Smashing Pumpkins or the Peppers?
Fuck.
Dude, that's a hard one too. I'm going with
Peppers.
Smashing. Listen.
It's Peppers.
Smashing. Okay.
We always said that our old band was a cross. I mean, back in the '90s was a cross between the Cult and the Chili Peppers. But the first Smashing Pumpkins album was just such an influence on me.
Okay. Soundgarden or Stone Temple Pilots?
Soundgarden.
Pearl Jam or Alice in Chains?
I'm gonna say Alice in Chains.
Yeah. Alice in Chains.
Live or Candlebox?
Live.
Yeah, live.
Collective Soul or Weezer?
Collective Soul for me.
Weezer.
Radiohead or Temple of the Dog?
Probably Radiohead.
Yeah. Go ahead. More content.
Foo Fighters or Nirvana?
Nirvana.
Yeah, Nirvana.
Nina Simone or Elle Fitzgerald?
Well, who was the first one? I'm gonna say Ella Fitzgerald because I like her.
Nina Simone?
Ella Fitzgerald.
Okay. The Spinners or Cornelius Brothers?
I don't know. I'm gonna
No. Okay. Richie Valens or Buddy Holly?
Probably Richie Valens.
Mm.
I'm gonna have to say that because my bass player. I'm giving an
Buddy Holly.
ode to my bass player who loves Richie Valens.
Okay. Chuck Berry or Little Richie?
Chuck Berry.
Chuck Berry.
Notorious B.I.G. or Tupac?
Ah, fuck. Listen, I love Tupac, but I listen to Notorious B.I.G. more. I listen to Biggie more.
Tupac.
Okay.
But I love Tupac. He's an artist.
Yeah, he is. Run DMC or Beastie Boys?
Ha!
Beastie
Beastie
Boys.
Boys.
Rakim or Slick Rick?
I've heard more from Slick Rick.
Okay. David Bowie or The Who?
The Who for me. Sorry, dude. I like David Bowie, but I guess I just don't get him like other people do.
Okay.
People love David Bowie.
Torn.
Okay. The Smiths or The Talking Heads?
Smiths.
Van Halen or Journey?
Van Halen.
Sorry,
Guns N' Roses or Motley Crue?
Motley Crue.
No Doubt, Garbage or Cranberries?
Either one other than No Doubt.
Okay.
Wait, you said No Doubt, Garbage, or Cranberries?
Or Cranberries.
Really?
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Really?
I'm sorry.
Oh my God.
I can't stand Gwen's voice. And one of my best friends used to like pal around with her, and he worked out with her. Well, he was
Christian,
he was on the Warp tour with her, and Sublime. He was in a band called Vitamin L.
Okay.
And he used to work out with Gwen all the time. So that she also he just said all it was about the Gwen show.
Well,
Makes sense. Garbage.
Garbage. Okay. So the Eric, Tool or the Peppers?
Fuck off.
All right, dude, come on. Yeah,
Fuck off.
You better say Tool. I was
Dude.
I was
Tool or
listening
the
to Tool
Peppers,
on the way
Eric.
over here. It came over
I
on
asked
my
Eric
iPod.
this last time and he couldn't answer it. And
Say
now I'm going back
Tool.
to it.
All right, well, listen.
Dude, Maynard is the deepest motherfucker there
Yes.
is. But the Chili Peppers brought that funky
They did.
punk.
They
What
did.
the hell are these
They
guys doing? Never seen before.
They
Shit.
did.
I
They
mean, I've seen both of them in front of like a couple hundred people.
Mm. On the way over here, I was like, God, give me some good music to like pump me up. And I was scrolling through my little iPod, bang, that something off the new Tool album came
The
out.
Fear Inoculum.
Yes.
That album is a
It's
masterpiece.
beautiful.
Oh my God. And I am a dude. Tool never disappoints.
No, they don't.
Never.
Dude, the way
Chili Peppers, they've had some ups and downs.
I used to love the Chili Peppers
Me
more than
too.
I do now.
Yeah,
I mean,
me
I
too.
think that they're, some of the recent releases, just, I'm not going to put them down. But I was a bigger fan back in the day.
Yeah, I kind of started losing interest after Mother's Milk.
Okay.
Okay. So then what about Tool or Incubus?
Tool for me.
Tough one. Incubus is very inspiring. But same thing happened to Incubus.
Primus or Korn?
God. Listen, I think
Primus
I think
for me.
Primus are
As much as I love Korn, Primus is just Les Claypool is just this bass genius.
I was gonna say Primus is more. I think they're more talented. Korn, I don't know. I can find myself grooving to Korn more.
Korn came out with a great style.
Right.
They came out with an amazing style. I will give them that. Their style is freaking unique as shit.
Okay.
Dude, Jonathan Davis's soundtrack for Queen of the Damned, that movie. If you've ever seen the movie Queen of the Damned, with Stuart Townsend, who I think he's married to Charlize Theron. I don't know. But,
oh wow, lucky.
Yeah. But he did the whole soundtrack. He wrote all the songs, and people like Static. Well, okay. I thought Static X did.
Static X.
Oh, I
But,
remember them.
A bunch of bands, Marilyn Manson and the Deftones and stuff, did the Jonathan Davis album. Like this, he wrote the songs for the soundtrack and had them do the music.
Okay.
So anyway, that's a great soundtrack.
Okay. System of a Down or Rage Against the Machine?
Rage Against the Machine. Even though I love System of a
I'm gonna
Down,
say System of a Down.
Rage Against the Machine came out of the scene like, who the fuck are these guys? What the hell? They were genre bending. System of a Down, wow. Kids were breaking into the Troubadour to see those guys.
Holy.
It's hard. It's I know
Yeah,
it's tough.
no, it's hard.
I
You're
mean,
giving us
dude,
tough choices. Come on, dude.
dude.
Yeah, well, you got to pick. That was it.
Streisand or
Right?
Anthrax.
Right.
I don't like- give me
Give us
choices
some
like
easy
that.
ones, man.
No, I got to give you harder ones because they're
Ah,
musicians.
shit.
You got to
Dude.
pick one.
That's tough.
Oh.
Well, you're picking the good. You're picking all the good ones.
Sophia's Choice, man. God damn.
Yep.
There was a movie where a mom had to choose between her son or her daughter to be taken by the Nazis.
Oh shit.
Mm-hmm.
That's not Sophie's Choice.
Sophie's Choice, yeah.
Sophie's Choice.
Sophie's
That's what that was about.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that. That's like back in my era.
Yeah.
Your era.
Well, our parents. Our
You're
parents.
30.
I'm 30.
Oh shit. You're young enough to be my kid.
Yeah.
I'm 50.
I have one kid that I know about.
In Japan.
Right? Yeah.
I wish.
Where's my father about to commit Sudoku?
The remnants of that genealogy is in a vending machine, soiled in some panties.
Oh, shit.
Oh my god, that's a good one.
Did you?
All right, everybody.
You guys, we really appreciate all you guys listening. And Christian, thanks for coming in. And
My
it's
pleasure.
so awesome
My
to have
pleasure.
had that revelation that we are part of this circle that continues to bang into each other, and we can offer so much good stuff to each other. And I really appreciate you coming over tonight. And thanks for sharing your band. I really love the music.
My pleasure.
30 Years Gone is it's deep stuff.
Thank
it
you
really
so
is.
much.
And I really enjoyed listening to it. And I think everybody needs to go check it out.
Check us out.
They're on YouTube. 30 Years Gone. Spotify.
Thank you.
iTunes.
Welcome.
Thank you, guys.
Any closing words?
I'm really appreciative. I really appreciate it. Thanks, Joaquin, for hooking me up and introducing me to these guys.
Oh, well, we hope you come back.
Yeah.
I'm
Please come back again.
I would be honored. It'd be my pleasure.
Awesome.
Cool, man. All right, you guys. Thanks for listening. If you like what you heard tonight, you want to check out some more, we've got plenty of videos. Make sure to subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. Because that way you know when we're going to do this again.
That's
even though
right.
it's every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. But anyhow,
Nice.
in case you were confused, just go ahead and subscribe. That's all you have to do. Make it easy, okay? All right? And like what you see.
Yep.
Thumbs up. All that stupid stuff. All right, you guys. Thanks so much. Peace out.
Peace out.